as my man Ed Oliver would say. What's going on with y'all, man? Welcome back to the Protest Sports Network. It's your boy Tone. We back with another live stream, man. Before I get into it, man. Hey, man upstairs, thank you. I appreciate you. For another day to make a play, another day for that big man upstairs to make a way, man. In that big man name, in Jesus' name, pray, man. Today's video, we got three big dogs in the building waiting for one more. Hey, y'all know who these people are. They don't got to introduce themselves, but if y'all need a reintroduction, I'll go and start with Rico, then Pedro, and then the real Ed Oliver down below.
Yes, sir. You can find me on YouTube, Street Scores, as you can see on the screen, and also on Twitter, Street Scores, ATL Everything Commanders. Excited about all of the new things coming. It seems like by the end of March, there should be a lot of big changes going on. So I'm excited for all of us to talk about it. I'm going to be checking out all y'all videos. So it's never nothing dull with the Commanders. One thing about it, it's never nothing just boring. So that's good.
Facts. Pedro?
Yeah, appreciate you for having me on. Just check me out at Pedro Schmidt on YouTube. Post daily Commanders content.
And the real Ed Oliver.
Yes, sir. You got the real Ed Oliver, not the one from the Bills. Big Commanders fan, big Commanders YouTuber. You guys can follow me on Locked On Wizards 2 on YouTube and on Twitter. So appreciate you for having me on, man.
For sure, man. Go check out all their social medias and all their channels. I will go ahead and pin a comment after the video is published and everything else after tonight. So I go subscribe all their channels after this has been published and everything else. And the stream is actually over with. Or I might try to do it during the stream if I get a chance to go ahead and type them and put their links down in the comment section. So that's how we're gonna do things tonight. We got some big dogs in here. So if y'all want to ask any for your question, please hashtag their YouTube channel, or you can tag their YouTube channel and comment your question. Super chats will take priority because you guys are actually donating. I don't want to disrupt no one's donations, and we're gonna get right into it. So our first question for tonight is, what are our overall thoughts on the Commanders 2022 NFL season, and what are the three biggest needs on the roster going to the offseason? And we'll start with Ed, then Pedro, and Rico, and I'll go ahead and give my 2 cents.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster ride, man. It was disappointing. Ron Rivera didn't even know that they could be eliminated from the playoffs, so that was very disappointing. We went on a winning streak, and Ron does this every year. Last year we did the same thing. We went on a 4-game winning streak. He'll get our hopes up. We'll look good for the playoffs, and then he'll have a meltdown towards the end of the season. So I think we have some talent. I saw Chad Ochocinco was on a podcast with Shannon Sharp. He talked about how good Dotson and McLaurin is. The team has talent, man. We got some really good receivers. The offensive line, it needs work, man. It needs to be revamped. You can almost look at every position from the left tackle all the way to the right tackle. You can look at everybody. Chase Rouillet. He's been injured the past 2 years. He's only played, 10 games in the past 2 seasons. Leno was disappointed in the last 2 Giants games. He was getting beat by Thibodeau a couple times. Cosme, we don't know if he's going to be a right tackle or a guard, so he might be shifted to guard. Lucas is a backup. Trey Turner wasn't great. He was a disappointing signing. Both of the Commanders were disappointing signings. Norwell was a disappointing signing.
Commanders.
All the Commanders both the Commanders on the offensive line were disappointing signings. So I wouldn't mind if we had all different guys or shuffling a lot on the offensive line, drafting a left tackle, drafting a guard, drafting a center in the later rounds. I wouldn't mind that at all. Definitely need a tight end. Corner. We need cornerback depth really bad. I like Danny Johnson, but we need somebody next to Kendall Fuller. And Ben St. Juste, he missed games his rookie year. He missed games again. So we just need depth at the cornerback position too. I've seen a couple mocks where we got a corner in the first round. So I think wide receiver is good. Safety, we're good at safety with Derek Force and Cam Curl. I know people, he's talking about pay me. He wants to get paid. His dad wants to get paid. So we'll probably talk about that.
I'll hear about that soon.
But I would say the biggest need is really the offensive line. You can look at every position honestly and say, hey, we need to upgrade the offensive line.
I agree. Very, very disappointing season. I think before the year, I was like, it's playoff or bust. If you don't make the playoffs, it's a disappointing year. They didn't make the playoffs, and not only that, they won 8 games and got one of the lowest possible picks. 16th? So, only 2 away from the lowest possible pick before the first round. So they're going to be picking middle of the first round, not in position to get a QB. and they didn't get into the playoffs. So I think it was disappointing, and they're no closer to, the answer at the quarterback position. Maybe it's Sam Howell, but like we have literally no idea. And then top three needs, I would say O-line as a whole. I mean, you could list 3 different positions, tackle, guard, and center, but I'm just going to put the whole offensive line as one. I would add cornerback, like Ed said. Benjamin St. Juste is good, and he's very talented, but first year missed almost the whole year with the concussions, 3 concussions or something like that. This past year had the ankle injury. He's good, but a little bit too injury prone. So you got to add someone in just in case, he keeps getting hurt. So I think that's one. And then I would also say linebacker, just because right now it's literally just Jamin Davis. Like Cole Holcomb is a free agent. I mean, we have David Mayo, John. I mean, I don't know if those guys are free agents, but whatever. I don't care. They don't need to be back on the team. It's just Jamin Davis. You got to add someone. And even if it's Cole Holcomb, you bring back Cole Holcomb, I still think you need another guy. You need to either draft a guy or sign another guy, because the depth at the position is awful. It's absolutely awful. It was going into the season, and then once Holcomb got hurt, it was even worse. You can't play games where John Bostic is playing 70% or 50% of the snaps. It's just unacceptable.
Not even 10%. I don't want to see the field at all.
0%, yeah.
None. No one be on the roster, period. So, Ed, did everybody go?
Oh, it is my turn.
Yeah. My fault, bro.
No, you good. So I feel like I definitely agree that offensive line is priority. I feel like offensive line, we need starters, probably even more than one, for reasons that Ed and Pedro have already dove into in a good way. I mean, from left to right, anywhere. Center, we need to be looking at that maybe like 3rd or 4th round, because maybe go ahead and get that guy that you want to groom to be the next starting center, because you could potentially cut Chase Roulier next year if he can't stay healthy. And they tried it with Keith Ishmael, didn't work out. Try again. Then cornerback, you can argue we need somewhat of a starter / depth. So maybe that will be my second, and I can easily see us going in the 1st round for that. I feel like linebacker would be 3rd as well. I definitely agree there. The only difference between linebacker and corner is that I'm really high on a few corners in the 1st round of the draft, whereas linebacker, I'm not very high on anybody enough to take them 16. But linebacker is definitely a pretty big need. At the very least, you need depth. And just like Pedro said, Cole Holcomb isn't even technically on contract. So definitely to solve that issue there. And then overall for the season, my biggest disappointment, y'all know me. I mean, the perpetual middle and average is the worst thing possible. I prefer to be bad enough to get a really good draft pick, or to be good enough to make the playoffs and make some noise. I feel like if we would have started Sam Howell sooner, again, I feel like he may not have been as good as Taylor Heineke against the Packers after that Bears game. Maybe we don't beat the Packers with Sam Howell, but I think by the time we get to those 2 Giants games, Sam Howell is the better quarterback, and he's good enough to beat the Browns and all of those other teams that we lost to actually make it into the playoffs. So I feel like we missed the mark there as far as starting Sam Howell sooner.
I can't disagree with anything you guys said. Number one for me is the offensive line. I think we need 4 new starters. Honestly speaking, the only starter I really see that can return is Sam Cosmi. Rude can't stay healthy. Leno is trash. He's awful. He sucks. He is downright awful. He makes me want to puke watching him play sometimes. He's absolutely horrible. Norwell is just slow. He has all the technical skills. He's just slow. He's just a snail. He just can't move. And do not get me started with Trey Turner. Oh my gosh, boy. We had Trey Turner montage. We sit for an hour. See how bad that man is. Horrendous. He did play good, like that stretch, like right after the bye week. He was cool, but like, bro, those first 5 weeks, I wanted to puke watching that man. Like the first 3 weeks of this, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you on this roster? Why are you in the league, bro? Like, why are you here? Like, get out of here. Like, you suck. So offensive line number one for me. Like, at least 3 new starters, like minimum. Like new left tackle, new right tackle, new left guard. Like minimum. Like, I'm sorry. Don't hit me with the, Leno be fine next year. Charles Leno's cool. Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Excuse my French, miss me that bullshit, please. I'm not subscribing to that bull crap. I'm sorry. I'm not subscribing to it. No, not
Yeah,
scrap.
he's the new Morgan Moses. That's what I compare him to because Morgan
Morgan
wasn't.
Moses better than him.
He probably is.
No, we're not even doing that. We're not saving this man. No, he sucks.
Because that's
He
how
sucks,
it was with
bro.
Morgan Moses.
I'm
Morgan
sorry,
Moses is a nice
no.
guy.
I'm sorry.
He's a nice guy.
Oh my
He's a
god.
locker room leader.
Like, all right. As a leader, Leno is great, and and when Leno plays at his best, he's actually an above average starting left tackle. When that man is bad, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of pass. When he's actually playing well, he's actually a solid starting left tackle. But when he's bad, man, I think us four can go out there and blood better than him. That man's a turnstile. My man's a Metro Gate. Whatever you want to call that man, that's what he is. He's just not it. So if you save $8 million by cutting him, I'd rather save $8 million. Thanks for no thanks. I appreciate it. You can hit the step and go that way. Yeah, that way, my Migo voice, that way. Yeah, Rudays can't stay healthy. It just sucks. Cornelius Lucas is a swing tackle in this league, not a starter. So I don't want to see that experiment anymore. And as for, I see it, both guards suck. I don't know what to say about the offensive line. So, a cornerback is another need for me. I hate saying this because I'm just like an a-hole. People gonna get mad at me. I love Benjamin St. Juice, but can you play 17 games, please? I beg of you. That would be great. I'm honestly looking for a cornerback one in this draft. I think our first pick should be a corner. I know everyone's left tackle. I personally want left tackle, but at the same token, we need our Sauce Gardner, for goodness sake. Can we have our shutdown corner? Can we have Champ Bailey 2.0, please? Can we just have that? Can we not have nice things? Can we not have nice things?
Might be
Can we
Gonzalez.
not settle for good and actually go get great cornerback play? That would be great. Because Kendall Fuller is cool. He's solid, but St. Juice is good. St. Juice is a good corner. I want great. We had this great pass rush. Now I want a great corner to go with this daggone pass rush. And I think my final need at linebacker. Just that position sucks. It's awful. Jamin Davis still has a lot to learn. I think he could be good, but he's just not there yet. He's shown some good flashes. I want them to use him more as a pass rusher too. Can you blitz him more? That'd be great. Do have 3 sacks in 2 games when you start blitzing him. Makes no sense. Hey, he can shut down people. I just want to take the ball away. St. Juice don't do that. Sorry, but yeah, So yeah, no offense, Santiago Ball, no offense, but St. Juice is really good, but he don't take the ball away. Yeah, but back by the linebacker. Linebacker sucks, and I actually want a game-changing linebacker. I know it was a bring back Cole Holcomb, just drop the guy. We'd be all good. I am tired of mediocrity. Go give me a game-changing linebacker. Go give me Tremaine Edmonds. Just pay him. Pay him the money. Just kick it out. Let's stop being cheap. Let's stop being frugal and go pay somebody. That would be great. And not just guys in-house, because I know we do pay guys in-house. I'm like, Brandon, sure. But, yeah. Most times we pay people in-house besides Brandon, sure. So, yeah. Definitely linebacker, corner, and offensive line in general. Just completely agree. Hey, I don't care. Hope it's a non-exclusive tag. That'd be great. All right, so we all talk about top 3 needs on the team. What are the bright spots from last season that we saw? Those are 3 favorite positions on the team. I will start with Pedro. I start with Rico, then Ed, and then Pedro. So go ahead, Rico.
I feel like one of the obvious ones is the receiver group. Very excited about those guys. I feel like Curtis Samuel was underutilized a lot of the season, but when he was given the ball, except for towards the end where we kept handing him the ball and it was going for negative 3-yard runs every time. But besides that, when he got the ball, he usually made plays, especially on shorter routes, and then you get him the ball quickly and then allow him to make some things shake and create some yardage, some yak out off of that. And then, of course, Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson are amazing. I mean, we basically drafted another wide receiver one. I can admit, I mean, I wasn't high on Jahan Dotson, I can admit, when we first got him. But then when I started to really look at his tape afterwards, I was like, maybe there could be something here. And then he exceeded my expectations mightily. It sucks, too, because him and Stephon Diggs were leading the NFL in receiving touchdowns. Each of them had 4 each, like, through the first couple of weeks. And then he got hurt. We lost him for a few weeks. And he came back, and Taylor Heineke couldn't get him the ball. And then after that, he took off. And so I'm hoping he takes that momentum into next year. As long as we have the quarterback that can get those guys, hit those guys when they're open, I think our receiving group is going to be very good this upcoming season. And for now on, I mean, Terry McLaurin's on contract for like the next 3 years. Jahan Dotson's on his rookie deal. Curtis Samuel, we have him until the end of the 2024 season. We'll see, but I'm really excited about this receiving group. And De'Ami Brown, I mean, we bring him in to block, and he's a deep threat. Once we get, like, if Sam Howell can be able to hit him deep, like it looks like he should be able to, he should be able to be more involved as well.
Pedro? Oh, I mean, Ed. Big dog Ed. The real Ed Oliver.
Yeah, man, I agree with Street Scorers, man. The wide receiver core is our most talented and our best core. Now, you could go with the D line too. John Allen, Deron Payne, they had a heck of a season. They played really well. Montez Sweat had a good season too. He started off slow and then he got going in the middle of the season. But yeah, we just need a quarterback that can consistently get them the ball. Like I said earlier, Chad Ochocinco was on Shannon Sharp's podcast and he said he liked Dotson a lot and he liked McLaurin. He was like, they can really be known, but they just need a consistent quarterback to get them the football. And what we saw from Sam Howell in that last game, when you see a quarterback that leads his receivers and gets them and gives them more yak opportunities, you see how nasty this receiving core can be, man. Like, these guys are dangerous, man. And Curtis Samuel too, man. I think he's the perfect third receiver. I think he's in a perfect role. Even De'Ami Brown, man, like, he looked good, and when he gets the opportunity, he looked pretty good running down the field in the Titans game. So Terry's finally getting the recognition that he deserves. He finally got into a Pro Bowl. Jahan, the sky's the limit with him too, man. Like, we really got some good receivers, man. Like, I hope we don't waste their Terry's prime and Jahan's talent. So I'm really hoping that Sam can develop for sure. But yeah, other than the wide receivers, obviously the D-line, we just need Chase Young to show some consistency next year and see what we got from him, man. Because I'm still a believer in Chase Young, man. But Deron Payne, John Allen, I got to tip my cap to those guys, man. And Deron Payne, we'll see if we bring him back next year or a franchise tag. But man, he was balling, man. Him and John Allen, they were both balling this year.
Yeah, for sure. I would say receiver obviously is one of the top 3. I mean, you got Terry, who's top 10 receiver and could be even more if he had a good QB. And like, if you really think about it, if he had even Taylor Heineke for the 17 games, he would have had, like, I don't know, 1,450 yards, like 1,400 yards, because Carson Wentz did not give him the ball. I don't know why. What his issue was with Terry McLaurin, he would not give him the ball, and it was like the stats per game for Terry with Heineke versus with Wentz, it wasn't even remotely close. And it's just, I just did not understand at all. Wentz did not give Terry the ball, and Terry suffered from it. He still had a good year, but like, he is way better than 1,191 yards. Like, I really believe he's way better than that. And the quarterbacks are really holding him back. And I mean, even if he had Heineke, which is not a good quarterback, he would have had a good season. Because Heineke just says F it, throw it to Terry.
F it Terry somewhere.
Yeah.
What's the meme? F it Terry somewhere?
Exactly. But that's the top one. I would say D-line's the best. I mean, you got 2 elite I think they have the best defensive tackle duo in the NFL with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. I mean, Deron Payne finally got his sacks this year. Jonathan Allen was still an absolute animal. Like, I wish, like, it would be a more – I mean, I know the stat is out there, holding against, but I wish it was like a more used stat, because the amount of holdings that Jonathan Allen, like, draws is absolutely insane. And I wish they would track that a little bit more, because if you draw a holding, that's a sack. Like, let's keep it real. That's a 10-yard loss. So it's basically a sack, and I think it should be tracked more. But, yeah, he did a really good job with that. And then Chase and Montez, we'll see. I mean, Montez, I think we know what he is. He's a good pass rusher. He's not great. We'll see if he can get there, because he's always half a second, a third of a second too late. He's always near the quarterback.
Always too late.
Exactly, a little bit too late. So if he can improve on that, he can be elite. And then Chase Young, he has to step up this year. I mean, he's gonna have a full year or full off season to really lock in, and I hope he, balls out this year. And if he does, I mean, this D line I think's top 3 for sure, maybe even the number 1. And then other position, I would say I'll go with a sleeper one. You could go running back, but I'm gonna go safety. I really like the duo of Cam Curl and Derek Forrest. And you got Percy Butler in there as well, who knows, he was a project. I like the pick because it was like, it was like a low floor, but it's a high ceiling pick. And I think that he's got some potential and, can potentially play some for you. So I do like the safety room as well. I know Jarris does not like Derek Forrest at all, but
Tim doesn't even. Tim nor Jarris likes.
Yeah, but for his first year, like this was his rookie year, basically, Derek Forrest, I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I would say that kind of rebuttal the Derek Forrest thing. I do want to see him play better when Cam Crow doesn't play. Because when Cam Crow does not play, this is no offense to Derek Forrest.
For sure.
He's just like he's like lost in the sauce. Like he's kind of like, just there. He's just there holding up space. He's a space holder and not really making plays. When Cam Crow plays and he puts in positions, like the man's a behemoth. He's just out here making plays and catching picks, and he's always around the football. I will say one thing I like about Derek Forrest, he's always around the football. I will admit that he is always around the football, and that's always a good thing in a safety or defensive back. We're always around the football. We're always around the football, good things can happen. So, yeah. I just want to see him play better without Cam Crow around. That'd be my only rebuttal to that. But I can't disagree with the safety position either because I'm interested about Percy Butler too. And all Puerto Rico, man, he go out and get some good stats at safety too. So I like the safety room as well. I can't disagree with that one. That's a good one, Pedro. That's a good one. Number receiver. Y'all explain that. Do I talk about that? They're all dogs. And I do explain about one guy I do want to explain about though. If this guy can get the hell off punt returns and just be a receiver, please get Dax Milne the hell off punt returns. Please. Crawl out. Let me be a slot receiver, please. God dang, man. Gosh.
Hey, all I'm gonna say.
He gets these snaps. He looks good though. I don't understand what.
All I'm gonna say is Dax Milne is not a good punt returner, but at least he catches the football because remember the torture. Remember the torture it was of Steven Sims. Every time the punt would go up, I would literally just pray for him to catch it. Just pray for him to catch it. Dax Milne, he sucks. He's not explosive, but he gets you 4 to 5 yards, and I'm okay with that. I know, that's a low standard to have, but he doesn't fumble the ball. And hey, as long as
Sims cost the ball game in 2020 with a muffin punts, I can't disagree with you.
Remember, we beat the Bears because of a muff punt, and you can argue we beat the Packers because of one as well. So
yeah, Monty Rogers, man. Fumble! 3 points. I like free stuff. Free. So yeah, I can definitely agree with that. That's fine. But yeah, if you could upgrade from Dax Milne, that'd be great. That's all I would say.
For sure.
Be nice, okay? Be nice. But I do like him as a receiver though. When he does get snaps, he catches everything. He actually had a touchdown this year. Yeah, he did some good things. The little snaps he does get, they make him productive. So I'll just say that. So we're actually pretty deep at receiver. Even without Cam Sims, I don't want to bring Cam Sims back or not, but we're pretty deep at receiver. I think we're fine. I like the receiver position a lot, including Diami too. I completely agree with y'all. I love our running back room, man. I just love our running back room. I don't know why he brought it up, but I love our running back. Even without JD, JD, so, bro, please retire. I would appreciate just retire. But if you just retire, please, bro, for the love of your neck, please retire. But even about JD, I love Gibby. I wish they use him correctly. That'd be great. But when they use him correctly, he's amazing. B-Rob is a dog. I don't know why Jared's don't like B-Rob. Well, I'll have a conversation with him later about that. But yeah, B-Rob is incredible. And I like Jared Patterson. When he gets snaps, he's solid. He doesn't fumble the ball. He gets good ball security. He gets all the yards he's supposed to get on the play. Yeah, he's not explosive. He's not going to make a dude miss and break breaks them out their shoes and like that, but he is productive and solid. He catches the ball well. He does everything very, very well. Nothing great, but everything very, very well. And Jonathan Williams, solid. Another solid back, too. So I got running back room. And, yeah, of course, the D-line. they're dogs. And I hope I see a 10-sack season from Chase Young this year. That would definitely be great to see, because I've been digging in Chase Young behind a little bit on this channel, and I've been a little pissed off about him. But if he give me a 10-sack season this year coming up in 2023, I could shut my mouth a little bit. So, but I do love the D-line. De'Ron's a monster. Will look like a monster this year. I hope it's consistent for now on, not just a one-off. That'd be great. Jonathan Allen's a dog, and Montez Sweat is a second too late. But when he's not a second too late, it's a good old sack. So I like a defensive line. James Smith-Williams off the bench, solid. Ridgeway. We get Fedarian Mathis back next year, a second-round pick. We saw like a half, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have a very deep defensive line too. So I like those positions a lot. Okay, so we're going to get to off-season stuff. We already wrapped up the season. Let's get to some off-season talk. Other than Carson Wentz, because we obviously are cutting Carson, James Wentz. He has to go. Even me being a Carson guy, he has to go much faster and slow, as Louis T would say. He got to get the hell off my roster. Give me that cap space. I very appreciate it. Bye-bye. It was nice knowing you, and I wish you the best at your next stop. Get the hell out of here, though. What are the top 5 guys you're cutting that's not named Carson Wentz, and why? We're gonna start with the cap guy down here, Mr. Pedro. Pedro.
Okay, 5 is tough, but I'll try to get. So Logan,
give me three.
Logan Thomas for sure. I mean, he's a fellow Hokie and everything, but it's time to cut and just get him out of here. He just 300 yards. He's making probably $9 million a year, or at least these next couple years, probably making around $9 million.
Yeah, making nine.
Yeah, and you can get someone cheaper. You can either draft someone, or what I would do, and Ed talked about this when he was on my channel, Austin Hooper, Hayden Hurst, or even someone like Foster Moreau. You can get them for cheap. You'll know what they'll do, 400 to 600 yards. They'll be solid, and then you can still try to develop Armani Rogers and Cole Turner, see what they do, and then John Bates as the blocker. So I think Logan Thomas is one. I think Andrew Norwell is one as well. I think that I would just move on from him. I think he was worse than Trey Turner, honestly, because Trey Turner was terrible to start out the year, but at least he had an excuse because he had the quad injury, right? The whole training camp, and he came back too early. When he came back, he was okay, not good. He was okay. Norwell was not good, and I think you got to move on from him. You save whatever you can, and then with that, you're gonna have 2 open spots at guard. I would bring in a free agent, and then the other guard spot, I would have Cosme or Chris Paul compete for that spot. So that's another one. I'm trying to think. I mean, you could go if you wanted to, Bob McCain. I don't care either way. I think he did an okay job at slot. If you can find someone better than him, okay, go ahead. I think he did an okay job. I think Joey Sly is a guy that you have to think about as well. Potentially a new kicker. I'm not saying they should cut these guys, but these are just things you have to think about. Like if you do find an upgrade at either of those positions, slot corner or kicker, I think you can, cut them. I'm trying to think of anyone else obvious. I mean, Leno and Chase Roulier, those are options, but I think Roulier, see what he can do coming off the injury, and then if it doesn't work out, because it's going to be tough to find a new center, and if it doesn't work out this year, then you move on from him next year. But I think that I don't know who said, I think it was Rico, draft a guy in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round that is a guard/center that maybe in his rookie year can play guard for you, but eventually can be the replacement for Chase Roulier. And then Leno, I think it really depends on what you do in the 1st round. If you draft a tackle, I want my 1st round pick playing left tackle. So I'd put him at left tackle and move Leno to right. If Leno's like, I'm not moving to right, cut him. You save the $8 million. And then in that case, you put Cosme at right tackle. It's going to be interesting with Cosme because he's kind of put in a bad situation because he doesn't know what he's playing, because it really depends on what they do in the draft or free agency. So it really sucks for him because obviously you prepare differently for playing guard and tackle. So this offseason, until he really figures it out, he's going to be preparing for both, which sucks.
I'm gonna let Rico go last one. So go ahead, my guy Ed.
Yeah, Pedro.
What's the guys you want cut, bro?
He basically covered everything. Logan Thomas is the guy that I think that they should be looking at. I mean, they can come to him and ask for a restructure. He's 32, so he's getting up there in age. I know that's not super old, but after the knee injury, the dirty hit from Yannick Ngakoue, that really hurt him because he wasn't explosive anyway. So now he's even slower. He dropped a big pass in the Giants game, and then he was he struggled in pass protection too. A couple holding calls. I thought some of the calls were a little iffy, but he was getting beat. Run blocking.
Terrible.
He definitely struggled. All our tight ends struggled in run blocking, honestly, to be honest with you. But Logan Thomas, he regressed. I think you can get the same production from, like me and Pedro talked about. You can look at Austin Hooper. I know there was interest back when Austin Hooper left the Falcons. Hayden Hurst looked good with the Bengals this year. I don't think you're gonna have to break the bank for him. Guy, if you want to replace him, you can draft a tight end too. I think they should sign somebody and draft a tight end, Foster Moreau as well. I know they're not going to break the bank for guys like Evan Ingram or Dalton Schultz. I wouldn't want Dalton Schultz anyway, but I think, you got to get somebody in here better than Logan Thomas. Somebody younger and somebody that can move, and it could be a good pass-catching tight end. Leno is somebody to look at, but like you all said, we got to have a solution. I don't want to just cut him and not have a real plan. So if we're going to draft a tackle, I'm fine with that. That's how we got cut with the Bears. Like the same thing happened with the Bears. The Bears drafted Tevin Jenkins. They cut Charles Lane and we picked him up. Another guy, Jaden McKissick. I think he's going to be an injury settlement. I think he is, like you said, Protect. I think he's going to retire. It doesn't take a lot of money off the books, but I want to say it takes like $2 million off the books, which is you use that money. It's like 1.5. You can use that money, and I think Jared Patterson can come in. He can contribute. He can be a third down back, or Antonio Gibson can get more snaps. Get more targets. You can open up for him. So I like Jaden McKissick a lot, but the neck injury just looks like it's really tough for him. So I think that's a guy too. Bobby McCain, I'd probably keep him. Rouye, I'm ready to really move on, honestly, because we've shown that we can win games without him. He only played in 2 games last year. We beat the Eagles without him. We beat the Packers without him. We beat some good teams without Chase Rouye. So I think we can. I think we're good enough to win without him. Trey Turner, he's a free agent, so of course he's gone. Norwell is a guy that I would cut too. So those are all the guys I would cut. I would cut Logan. I would cut I would ask Logan for a restructure. I would definitely cut Norwell. He's gone for sure. Jaden McKissick injury settlement. And those are all the guys right there that really are making money. There's really not a lot of guys on big contracts, but that's really it. Those are the cap casualties for me.
Yeah. Rico, go ahead, bro.
And I pretty much agree with most of that. Just to throw another name in there, going into that Bears game, I was like, Kendall Fuller, cut him, save yourself $8.5 million. But then the second half of the season, he turned it around, getting the pick sixes and things like that, and just playing well as a cornerback too. The Benjamin St. Juste being cornerback 1, I think it looked pretty good. I still would take if Christian Gonzalez for some crazy reason makes it to 16 overall, I would still take him. But I think you keep Kendall Fuller. But you could, he's an $11.6 million cap hit. You cut him. He's only $3 million worth of dead cap. That's a lot of money you would save there if you wanted to go that route. And then Chase Roulier, me personally, I would just give him this next season, because if you cut him this year, you only get $4 million back. But if you wait till next year, you get a lot more savings wise. But I understand the frustration because I'm tired of it too. Like I said, I think you go center 3rd or 4th round and you hope to get like a replacement for him that you can groom. And if he gets hurt this year, hopefully that guy's ready to play by the time Chase Roulier gets hurt. And then I definitely agree with Logan Thomas. It's sad to see because it was an injury that wasn't his fault. But if you do cut him, that's an additional almost $2 million that you save. And when you say these numbers individually, it doesn't sound like a lot, but they start to add up to where if you make all of these cuts, we're getting to the like 50 millions in cap space, and that could be pretty big. So I wouldn't be surprised if they clean house, if Rivera knows his job is secure. But at the same time, depending on what goes on with this new owner and things, they sound like they may be a little bit more reserved and play a lot of things safe. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a lot of roster moves and we don't attack free agency very aggressively until the next offseason, until like the whole front office and everything is situated. We'll see, though. I hope so. I hope we're really aggressive at acquiring an offensive lineman, draft, free agency, maybe even both.
Yeah, and one thing that Rico brought a good point. He was talking about Kendall Fuller. I think they could also create cap space by restructuring deals, and Kendall Fuller could be one. And the front office is not very creative in terms of this, or they haven't done it in the past. I don't know if that's because they're just old or if it's because Dan Snyder is not liquid. He doesn't have a lot of cash on hand, which that has been rumored. And if you want to create cap space by restructures, you have to convert the money to a signing bonus and give them the money. And if you don't have a lot of money on hand, cash on hand, you can't do that. So that's maybe a little bit of an excuse for them. But Kendall Fuller, you can restructure that deal, convert the money to signing bonus. And the players that usually don't mind that. Leno, same thing. Curtis Samuel, same thing. Like, those guys are making a lot of money, and you can restructure and help them out and also help yourself out too.
Yeah. I completely agree with almost all the candidates. We're going to talk restructuring contracts in a second. I can get to that in a moment. But, I completely agree with Ed. We're going to go ahead and probably settle with J.D. McKissick as an injury settlement. He won't be on his roster next year. I'm cutting Charles Leno. I'm sorry. He got to go, bro. No. I'm no longer standing for mediocre tackle play. Bro, you gotta understand, us as Washington Redskins, Commanders, football team fans, we've had Trent and Chris Samuels back to back. Do you understand how elite left tackle play we've seen in the past 2 decades? And we're settling, excuse my language, please forgive me, Lord.
Forget about Donald
Bum ass Charles Leno. He's a bum. No, I'm not selling for that no more. No mas. I can't do it. We had to deal with Donald Penn in 2019. Bro, we have not had a good left tackle in 4 years. I can't take it no more. I'm going nuts. Charles Leno is trash, bro. No. Number one is him. I'll get to Logan Thomas second. Number one is him. He has to go. He can take his Water Paid Man of the Year award and get the hell out of DC. I don't want him here. He can go. Next. Logan Thomas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Logan Thomas is a big reason why Scott got fired. He was one of the guys to speak out, and his wife said something too. So we got to send him a Christmas card.
Yeah, shout out to Logan Thomas's wife. We might find her cash app or something. Better look out for her. But yeah, bro, shout out to her. Shout out to her. She could go. But Logan, look, bro, I'm sorry. You gotta take a huge pay cut. You gotta go. Look, you gotta take a pay cut. You gotta go. You gotta pick. I don't know what it's gonna be because you got hurt last year. Like, it wasn't just the ACL tear you recovered from. You hurt your hammy last year. You was gone for a while. So it's like, do you even stay healthy no more, bro? Do you stay healthy anymore? Like, you're 32. Like, you just gotta go. Hey, we cut you now. We can. They don't like bringing players back. They don't like to admit they made mistakes. Eric Flowers, Landon Collins. They don't like making mistakes, but you know how it goes. They don't know how to admit they made mistakes, but hopefully if they were to cut them, they can. Hey, it's August. Hey, you haven't got a job yet. We want to take the veteran minimum, come back. one of those. But we'll see. But yeah, I think Logan got to go, and it's sad because I like Logan Thomas. He's a great locker room guy, great leader. He's a captain for a reason, and it just sucks. But he's just not that anymore. He's just not who he was in 2020. We see flashes, which is great, but we just don't see it consistently anymore. And it just sucks. Even in 2021, we didn't really see it consistently before he got hurt. So it's like, it's not just a last year thing. This is a 2-year thing now. So you got to rock, bruh. Sorry, I'm telling you. Oh, yeah. Oh, Andrew Noah can get the hell out of here, too. He can take the first Spirit flight the hell out of here. You don't even get American or Delta. You get Spirit. Get the hell out of here. Bye. That's number 3. Number 4. probably my last cut. I have to agree with Pedro. Chase Roulette gotta go, bro. Chase Roulette's gotta go. I agree with Ed. He gotta go, bro. Like, I want to give him an extra year before to get hurt again. Like, I'm gonna give you another $12 million to get hurt again. No, absolutely not. You can take this $8 million. We'll take the 4.3 in savings and Chase. Wish you the best, bro. Like, and he's north of 30 now, so nah, I'm good with Chase Roulette. So that's cuts. I'm surprised no one else said Leno. It was the first one. I'm sorry he had to go.
Yeah, that's the only because
we don't have a replacement. We don't have a replacement in the house. So I get why y'all feel that way.
No, they clearly can draft Broderick Jones out of Georgia. Your boy Rico. I don't know how you feel about him. You know, of course, you know, Mel Kiper mocked him to Washington. That's probably like the best Mel Kiper mock I've liked for Washington probably in the last 10 years.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's had some wild mock drafts for Washington. But all that aside, I mean, like, it's like I said, it's really like Morgan Moses. Like, Morgan Moses he wasn't trash, but he was average. Like, you know what you're going to get. You know there's going to be some games where your quarterback's going to get beat. I mean, your quarterback's going to get beat up because of Morgan Moses. But there's going to be some games where Morgan Moses is serviceable. Like with Leno's the reason why Fitzpatrick got hurt the first game of the year. That was Leno's fault. But Leno, he had a solid year that year. And Ron Rivera brought him back.
He looked all right.
And he doesn't miss games either.
Yeah, he doesn't miss games. He doesn't have many false starts, holding penalties. Cooked. But yeah, he was getting cooked last year. Like it was bad. Like it was like off the jump. Like
against Thibodeau was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I think Azeez Ojulari got past him a couple times too. Yeah, like it was like Heineke would snap the ball and Thibodeau was like there. Like the forced fumble that was on Leno.
that was just awful.
Yeah, so I get the frustration. I get people's frustration with Leno, but I get if they do actually bring him back, I wouldn't be mad at it.
I'll play this. If any defensive end has any amount of speed, they're cooking Charles Leno and put him in a deep fryer. It's absolutely awful. Because Aiden Hutchinson took him to school too. We forgot that Lions game. That first half, Aiden Hutchinson put on a clinic, a one-man clinic. And Mr. Leno was the patient. And he got destroyed. So it started early in the year. It got ugly early. Even Trayvon Walker put some moves on. I said, bro, these dudes are rookies. What are you doing? You've been in the league long enough. You should let this happen. If it came on Thibodeau, Lord have mercy. That man took Charles Leno and threw him in the trash and let him sit there the whole game. That's what he was. He was trash the whole game. Both games, trash. So yeah, I can't take it no more. I'm sorry. It's good. I went from Chris Samuels to Trent Williams to Donald Penn to now Charles Leno Jr. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. Donald Penn was better in 2019 than Charles Leno was last year. And Donald Penn was 37 years old. It's bad. It's bad. If Charles Leno ever catches this video, you're not a bad guy. You're a wonderful man. You're a wonderful husband. You're a wonderful guy off the field.
Did you vote for him?
I voted for him, yes.
Okay,
yes, great guy. But bro, you're not a good left tackle. You gotta go. Go out to the Bears or something. Just go away. Just go. Because I'll take a restructure, but you can't stay at $12 million, bro. You gotta take a pay cut. We gotta push that money back in a void year or something. We gotta figure that out. Also, no way you can restructure contract, by the way. You can't make a void year of money that you don't want to pay someone right away. So that's there's no way you can restructure contracts. Speaking of restructuring contracts, give me two players that you guys want to restructure and why. I will start with Rico and then Pedro and Bennett.
Yeah, if somehow you could get Chase Roulier to just I played 10 games in 2 seasons, like y'all said. If he would be willing to just be like, you know what, yeah, let me earn y'all trust back. Let me give you a little bit of cap space back, and work for my next contract type of thing. And then another contract I would also like to restructure. I don't want to say Curtis Samuel, Because I mean, I do think this upcoming season with the right offensive coordinator and Sam Howell at quarterback, he can probably be a star. So I'll probably stick with Charles Leno. I think Charles, especially with him technically, my prediction is that he'll end up getting demoted to right tackle, and we will bring in a left tackle, whether it be through free agency or draft. So I mean, I think off of just getting demoted, maybe he'd be willing to take a restructure. Remember, we thought Landon Collins would never take a restructure, and then he almost did. We asked him once, and he was like, "All right, I will." Then they asked him again to take a deeper restructure, and then he was like, "Yeah, y'all playing games with me." So you never know. Maybe some guys would be willing to take a restructure because I never thought Landon Collins would say yes. He said yes to the first one and then said no to the second one. Maybe Charles Leno would be a type of guy that would take one, especially after demotion.
Go ahead, Pedro.
I think Leno for me would be one. Try to restructure a deal with him, and I agree with Rico. I mean, if he's at left tackle, it is what it is. But if you draft a tackle or you sign Orlando Brown, which I'm not really like, I know Orlando Brown's great, but I don't think he's worth 20+ mil a year. I really don't. If that happens, you're not going to be able to pay Payne, in my opinion. But I would, if you draft a tackle, then move Leno over to right side, and if he doesn't want to, then just cut him. If not, if he's sticking at left tackle, try to restructure a few million, or convert it to a signing bonus, and then Kendall Fuller as well. Not really in terms of taking a pay cut for Kendall Fuller because he played pretty well last year overall. I mean, he did struggle to start out the season, but by like week 6, week 7, he really started to turn around once they got rid of bum William Jackson III. And then, I mean, that happened. So if they can, convert that a little bit to a signing bonus, then that's fine. And I'm so thankful we got that guy off our team. I mean, that worst player, one of the worst players I've ever seen. And he got burnt. He held and he did unnecessary roughness every single play. And then, like, there was one play when I was absolutely done with him was the Lions game when him and Benjamin St. Juste kind of bumped into each other a little bit, and St. Brown kind of got like a 60-yard, like it was a short pass and he took it for 60.
Yeah.
Derek Ford or William Jackson III easily could have gotten St. Brown earlier, but he was kind of jogging. And sometimes when you're watching athletes, you think they're jogging, but they're not because they just look so fast. But then you see Derek Forrest go twice his speed down the sideline and get him. And I was like, okay, this guy's not trying. He sucks. And we need to get him out of here. And I'm thankful.
Yo, why Pedro made like 5 straight videos in a week about William Jackson, bro? I swear to God, bro.
Yeah,
this man's digging this man's tail like he stole something. Like, I thought Pedro might go get a hit on this man. He's like, oh, I'm gonna blow this man's house up. He gotta go up top.
Yeah, and I made a video. In the middle of the season. I said the one man responsible for the Commanders' defensive turnaround. And I made the whole video about how after the Commanders traded William Jackson III, the defense got way better.
Yo, when I saw the title and I saw the thumbnail of that video, I had to watch it. I just started dying. I immediately started dying. Like I said, Pedro is hilarious, bro. Why? Why is he so savage right now? Like, why? Oh my God! Ed, go ahead, bro.
Was the question was about William Jackson or it was about restructuring?
No, it was 2 players you had to restructure.
I had to throw William Jackson in there because
what was I gonna say? Restructure. I like Logan Thomas. I think he would be a good tight end number 2 or tight end number 3. It would have to be on a really, really cheap deal, though. It's just the knee doesn't. I mean, his mobility. It looks like he regressed in that part. And his run blocking, he's struggling with that. I just think he's a good locker room leader, and like I said, he's a big part of the reason why Scott Turner got fired because he spoke out too. So he speaks his mind, and I think he's a good red zone threat too. Like when he was playing well last year or 2 years ago, he was a guy that was reliable for catching touchdowns in the red zone. The Eagles game where we beat the Eagles with Alex Smith, where we went to the playoffs, he had a huge catch for a touchdown catch. The Raiders game where he got hurt, he jumped up to the rafters, got a touchdown catch. So he's been a really good red zone threat. And we struggled in the red zone. I mean, Cole Turner's a guy that could probably replace him in that aspect. Or maybe Armani Rogers. You could throw even John Bates. I don't think we gave those guys enough chances to get touchdowns. But Heineke overthrew Logan Thomas a couple times too. But he's a guy I would think about restructuring. I would come to Kendall Fuller with a restructure, but I would, even if he says no, I would probably keep him because our depth is just, we have zero depth. I do like Danny Johnson. Percy Butler, he's still up and coming. He's still developing. We got Wild Goose, so you can't really rely on him. So we just don't have any depth at all. So those are the only guys I would restructure. I would cut Rouye. I wouldn't really restructure him, to be honest with you. I think we've seen enough. We've seen enough there with him missing time like that. Yeah, William Jackson. I'm happy he's gone. I know it's not a part of the question either.
Shorty was trash.
It is what it is. He. I don't know who was worse. Him. Actually, you know what? Josh Norman was way better than him. He was. Josh Norman.
He was good his first year here.
His first 2 years.
His first 2 years here, Norman was
and he was forcing fumbles.
He just wasn't getting the interception.
Yeah, Peanut Tillman punch. He was doing that. I remember the game where we beat the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. He was like, he said, Amari Cooper, trash, Crabtree, trash. They better not say that.
One grab. We got one grab. That's it. 20 yards. That was hilarious. Oh, so y'all got your restructures? Okay, so I think for me, I agree with Ed, man. I'm just cutting Chase Rouye. I'm sorry. I just can't do it no more. He got pro hands with me. I'm sorry. He even got to take veteran minimum. He got pro hands with me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We got pro hands. We got pro hands in the locker room. I'm sorry. Hey, yo,
as long as it's not Nick
you don't want to go? I'm gonna make you go.
As long as it's not Nick Martin.
Nick Martin.
One bad Nick Martin. He couldn't shot the ball. Wes Swanson couldn't snap the ball sometimes. I was like,
Wes Swanson was terrible at center. Snaps.
Horrible. The only that wasn't absolutely trash was Larson, and even he wasn't great. It's probably was 6-1-1 with him as the starting center. But another topic for another day. Yeah, Rudy ain't getting cut. I'm sorry, but I think only got prior restructure, honestly. Yeah, I guess I gotta go with Ed on that one. Logan Thomas possibly, but I don't know. I just don't look the same to me no more. And it depends on the restructure. Like if he takes a $5 million pay cut and you put into like 2025 or something when we got a bunch of cap space and we don't care about $5 million, okay, sure. But the restructure only like $1.5 million, like $1.5 million. That's a waste of time. I've already just cut you to save my $5 million and you can just rock. So. I guess Kendall Fuller be like a restructure has like extension, I guess, / restructure. Like you kind of give him an extension, but restructure his deal, like give him an extra dummy year on it. It's like, all right, I'm gonna extend you now. I'm lower your cap number by $6 million this year. 2025, I'm gonna give you the $6 million. You're not on the team no more. And you can you can just take that in 2025. You can wait a couple of years. You rich, you be all right. Or one of those. So probably Kendall Fuller and possibly Logan Thomas for me, but I'm sorry, Leno. I'm not restructuring. I'm sorry. Unless like Don there, got like $2.5 million or $3 million, something like that. If it ain't that, you got to go. You trash. You got to go. I'm sick of him. Like he gonna make one pro hands. He make me mad. He made me mad the whole season. Like I got tired of it. Like because I watch these games in person. I would just see him getting beat in person. And when you watch it in person, it's worse. It's like, bro, you watch on TV like this man trash. When you see this man look slow as a snail coming off the snap and just getting thrashed in person, it's like, you really are trash. You really suck. Get the hell off my team. It's like, bro, I can't take it. Like, yeah, so just Kendall Fuller and Logan Thomas for me. Anyone else, yeah, they can go. Any players y'all want to extend? I'll start with Ed and then Rico and then Pedro.
I think Cam Crow's the guy that you take a look at. You got to look at the money now. Him and his dad, it looks like they want $20 million a year, which is definitely a steep price.
That's absurd.
I was looking at some of the other safety contracts like Derwin James. I know Jesse Bates, some other guys. Even we gave Landon Collins a big contract. So I think Cam Crow.
What's the Justin Simmons too?
Justin Simmons. They got big contracts, so you got to compare him to those guys. And I like Cam Crow a lot, but he hasn't done enough just yet. I think he's had some good seasons, some good games. He missed a couple games last year. He's not injury prone, but he has missed some games, so I wouldn't hold that against him. And I know the knock on him is that he doesn't really force turnovers. I'm not really big on that either. I do want to see him force more turnovers. But you saw the defense regress when he was out. The Browns game, it was awful. There's another game we played and the defense was awful without Cam Curl. He's a big-time player. But, yeah, the price that it sounds like him and his dad are asking for, I can't do that, especially when you got to pay Deron Payne. Like, that's just not going to happen. I think they got to revisit that next year and see how he plays this upcoming year. And then by that time, it's going to be a new owner. So I just don't know what's going to happen with him in the contract situation. I do think they should try to extend him before his contract's up. But what him and his dad are asking for, I just don't think they can do that. Other guys that deserve maybe an extension, I would look at bringing Cole Holcomb back. It's not an extension, but just a re-signing. And then, of course, you want to bring back Deron Payne. But I don't see anybody really, getting an extension other than really Cam Curl at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, we had the big dog in the building. We see you now.
Okay.
Who else could it be but our main dog, Louis T? What's up, big dog? How you doing, bro?
What's going on with you, man? Hey, nothing much. I can't call it, man. Just trying to survive.
I even know you hopped in, bro. Like I didn't even see like your face until I saw the arrow on the StreamYard thing. I said, oh,
it's all good, man.
How's everything, man? What's going on?
I mean, everything is everything, man. Just trying to kind of prepare myself for the off season now. Got one more game left, Super Bowl, and then it's straight to the off season draft and free agency and all of the things that keep you busy with the NFL. So you know what it is, man. And I'm starting another channel. So I'm juggling that, and I got another channel that I'm trying to restart again. So I'm all over the place, bro. It's a lot going on.
Well, I understand. I'm a guy with two channels.
I know you. I know. I saw. I know what you got going on over there too. So I know you. You know the struggle.
Yeah, you understand, bro. So, yeah, welcome Louis T to the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we would left off.
What's going on with y'all, man?
What's up, man?
How y'all doing?
We could pause the proceedings for the big dog. When big dog coming, we got pause proceedings. We got pause proceedings when Louis come in the building. But yeah, where we left off at, we was talking about players restructuring and players to extend, and like Ed just said, Cameron Curl, his daddy wants him to have a $80 million contract. I think it's a little absurd. That's all Cam Curl specifically, because we'll talk other players. What are y'all thoughts on this $80 million demand that Cameron Curl's father is asking for? We'll start with Louis, and then everybody gave his opinion, Rico, and then Pedro, and I'll give my opinions on it.
So this is the first I've heard of this. When I was listening to y'all talk, I had no idea what y'all were referring to as far as what they are asking for. I don't really know the specifics or the particulars of if they're looking for a 4-year, 5-year, 6, whatever. I mean, 80 is a big number. I don't even know. I think the numbers for safeties have gone up. Obviously, we started that with Landon Collins. His was 84, if I'm not mistaken.
For 6.
Something in that
84
neighborhood.
For 6, yeah.
Yeah. So all the numbers went up from there, and it really it's really less about the overall number and more about the AVV. So, or the AAV, excuse me. And so what are you asking for on an annual basis? Is it 15? Is it 16 million? Because we saw some deals get done last year, a lot of safety movement last year. You had Marcus Williams go from the Saints to the Ravens. I think he got a really big contract. I don't know the exact numbers for that.
5 years, 70, or like 5 years, 70,
something like that. CJ Gardner-Johnson is about to break the bank with the Eagles. They're going to break him off big time. You had Justin Reed go from the Texans to the Chiefs. I don't know what his deal was.
3 years, 30. He was 3 years, 30. I remember.
So yeah. And like I said, it was a ton of safety movement last year. You had the Jets go out and get a safety. They lost Marcus May. He went to New Orleans. I forgot who the Jets went out and got.
Jordan Whitehead
from the Bucks, correct? So yeah, I mean, it was so much safety movement. So money was shelled out at that position. So you just got to look at what those guys are getting, and then determine where he fits in that pantheon of safeties and where you want to pay him. And if he's asking for an astronomical amount of money that you don't want to pay him, then it is what it is. But at this point, if he's asking for 80, let's say it's 80 over 5, what is that about? Roughly
16 per.
16, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, okay, fine, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, the number's only going to go up. Like, it's not going down. $80 million. I'm one of those people that I tend to not care about what money is spent in the organization unless you're wasting it. Okay. If you're spending money on Cam Curl, you're not wasting money. You know what I mean? My thing is, I don't like paying outsiders a big amount of money that haven't done it here. And I'm not really all for paying guys that I feel like have underperformed. Like, the jury's still out for me on Montez Sweat. Love him to death. But I'm not sure, you know what I mean, if I should pay you, because he's not going to say, oh, well, I know I haven't had, double-digit sacks in my career yet, so I will shave off a couple, million off the end because I'm going to do y'all a favor because I haven't lived up to expectation. Hell no, he's going to be like, look, I want whatever the highest paid edge rusher is getting. I know I'm not that dude, but whatever the next tier down is, that's what I want. And I'm like, I don't even know if you should be getting that kind of bread. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where I know I should pay Deron Payne. I know I should pay Jonathan Allen. I know I should pay Terry McLaurin. I feel like Cam Curl has proven himself and he should be paid big money. So it's that kind of stuff. I don't really get bent out of shape about the money as long as it's not something. If he said 100, okay, now we can't even have a real discussion. Right. We can't have a real discussion, but 80 isn't too far over the top. If you just told me Marcus Williams got 5 for 70, now he was an interception machine in New Orleans. So you could say, well, dude, he was putting up numbers. You're not. So because that's one of my biggest bugaboos with Cam Curl is he hasn't produced a turnover since his rookie season. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that in negotiations, they would point to that. Like, bro, you want 80. I think if anybody's ever been in negotiation, the number that you start with isn't the number that you want, right? You go higher than what you ultimately are asking for because they're going to talk you down. So if you really want $67 million, yeah, I want 80. You're like, 80? Bro,
you lost your mind.
Are you crazy?
You lost your mind?
So then they going to talk you down. You be like, all right, what about 75? And they're like, come on, man. I was thinking more like, 70. You was thinking 67. They say 70. All right, we got a deal. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if the 80 is a real number. It might be a number that they figure that's where we start the conversation and let them talk us down to the area that we really want to be. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and as his dad said, I looked on the tweet, he said 4-year 80 mil, 5-year 105, or 6-year 130. So I think he's just throwing stuff out there, but I think that's what he ended up saying.
Okay. Whoa. So those are astronomical numbers. So what he's roughly saying is we want 20 or better. That's the starting number. Because every time you go up a year, they're adding another $21 million. So that's essentially what he's saying. So I'm hoping that they're trying to have that conversation start there because I get it with the inflation. You saw what the cap number is going to be, 224, right? So it's up from 208 last year to 224. So obviously the numbers are going to go up. But Jonathan Allen got 4 for 72, right? It was like an extension that made it.
Yeah, 4 for 72.
Right.
18
we expect Deron to get something in that neighborhood, probably a little bit more to adjust for the inflation.
595.
I'm thinking it's like 582, something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. It's going to be more than Jonathan Allen's contract, right?
Yeah.
You can't get paid more than those dudes. If I'm Washington, you can't get more than them.
They go get the quarterback. You can't get paid more than the quarterback.
And you know what? I think his dad, the perspective his dad is coming from is look what happened to the defense when my son wasn't playing. Look at what happened to the defense when my son wasn't out there. Y'all fell the hell apart. And think about it. He didn't play in week 1. We were terrible against Jacksonville. He didn't play in week 2. We were terrible against Detroit. He comes back in week 3. We were good against Philadelphia. We just had one bad quarter. And we were good all the way up until he got injured. Exactly. Didn't play against San Francisco. We were terrible in that game. Didn't play against Cleveland. We were horrible in that game. And then finally they weathered the storm. That's because they put a bunch of young boys out there who were hungry in week 18 against Dallas. So that's probably what his dad is like. Yo, they need you. You need my son. Okay. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Say less. Say less. I'm not gonna hold. And that's a good point that Louis did bring up with when Cam Crow isn't playing. We all know how the defense goes. We go to hell in the handbasket real quick. We like some idiots. We like the Walking Dead out there in the secondary. The whole second like the Walking Dead. We get cooked.
It was terrible.
We get cooked like sausage on a Sunday morning. And eggs over easy. We just it gets bad. It gets really bad over there.
Really bad, especially the 49ers game. It was, I mean, George Kittle was running wide open. I mean, it was one play where if Kittle didn't catch it in the end zone, I think like Ray McCloud was like right there. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are two guys in the same spot wide open? Like, who does that?
They was having fun. They was having. What do we say? A fiesta?
Yeah, it was definitely a fiesta, bro.
it was a good old fiesta for the Niners. It was horrible. So, yeah. But I think Cameron, hey Greg Curl, I mean, you should chill, bro. Chill. 20 per. I get it. I get it. You try and get your son the max amount of money possible. I get it. I understand. But I'm gonna need Greg Curl to chill. But I get it though. I get why he's doing it because our defense like some cold trash fodder. Like Louis said, week 1, week 2, trash. 49ers game, trash. It's trash. Every time Cam Crow don't play trash, it just goes left. So, Oh, shout out to DeAndre Taylor for the shout out to DT. Coach Kerr responded to Josh Taylor's tweet and said 4 years, $64 million, and said that was fair. Okay, that's doable. I can do that. I'm cool with that. But
16
per. And that's what I think. That's why I think he threw that number out there. They're not looking for 80 over 4. That's what if anybody's ever been in real negotiations, you don't start with the number that you want because you expect to be talked down, right? So if you want, that's what I say, 67. Then I say if the number is 67, you start at 80. You knowing that you're gonna count, they're gonna counter with. We were thinking more along the lines of 55, and they're like, bro, we thinking more like 80. Then they're gonna say, all right, how about 60? And you're like, what about 75? And then they're like 65, and you're like, how about 70? And they're like, how about 67? All right, you got a deal. You know what I mean? Like that's how negotiations go. So I wouldn't take him at face value saying that. I think he's just trying to get the ball rolling on the negotiations.
Facts. And I hope Cam Crow gets paid. He's the one guy I do want to extend it. Another guy I do want to extend is Curtis Samuel. He looked very good this year.
I think one more year though. Like we got 1-0 burger, and then we got a really good year. I think this is the tiebreaker year, right? Because what if what if you extend him and then he has another season like the first year where
2021 gets hurt again?
So I think this is the tiebreaker year. I want him back though. After what he did this year, I would like to have him back, but I need to see it again.
Yeah, I need to see it. No, and I don't want to talk no long-term one, maybe like 1 or 2 years, something like that. Even lower his cap number a little bit this year, so you can free some more cap space to go get some more players. Because I don't know if Louis heard me, but I had a Charles Leno rant. I'm tired of him. He needs to go. He sucks. I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel about Charles Leno, Louis, but I'm tired of him. I'm tired of him. But yeah, he got to go. We need to do that tackle in DC. I can't tell you.
Look, if we, I don't know how everybody else on the panel feels, but I think most of us would prefer that they replace him, right? Upgrade. Like when we got him, he was a average player. Like that's why the Bears got rid of him. He wasn't. Rarely is there elite left tackle talent walking around on the market. So when they cut him loose, it was because they felt like they had gotten the best out of Charles Leno. So when we scooped him up, I thought it was more for depth purposes. I didn't realize that they were, because if I'm not mistaken, that happened after the draft, I thought, that year.
Yeah.
I thought it was after the draft. So we already had drafted Sam Cosmi, if I'm not mistaken. We were all thinking Morgan Moses was going to be on the right side, and Cosmi, I think Cosmi was that draft, or was that the first? Yeah. He got here in 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So Morgan Moses, he hadn't been cut yet. He didn't get cut till to that offseason 2021, right? He was there that first year
Yeah.
with Rivera, right? And
Yeah.
it was like he didn't buy in or whatever. So they drafted Cosme, and we were all thinking, okay, Cosme is going to be the left tackle of the future. You got Morgan Moses at right tackle, still holding it down. And then once they got Lucas or Leno, they cut Morgan Moses, and that was a shock to most of us. Like,
Facts.
whoa, you know. And I don't want to make
Yeah.
it seem like, because most of the fan base was like, get rid of him anyway, and I was like, y'all tripping. The one thing about Morgan Moses is he was always available. Like Sam Cosme, the biggest problem with him is bro's always hurt. So we still don't even know what Sam Cosme is. Is he a tackle? Is he a guard? He's never on the field. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. At least with Charles Leno, he wasn't as bad as people, you know, make him out to be last year. He had some bad moments though. He had some bad. You can do a lot worse than Charles Leno, and that's how the organization.
I give you that, I guess. I give you that.
And I don't think they're gonna look to create. First of all, when you got an offensive line where the entire interior, guard to guard, has to be replaced, they're not looking to create another
hole in it.
Right. So I think the thought process is we can get by with him for another year or two. They extended him last year, so at a bare minimum, he'll be on the roster this year. They're going to either take Cosme and stick him inside at guard, and that'll solve one of your guard problems, or they're going to try him again at tackle. I think they're more inclined to slide him inside at this point. I think they're done with him as a tackle. I think they're going to try to draft another tackle. They need to draft another guard. And I think with what they said at the end of the season about center, sounds like both Chase Roullier and Tyler Larson are gone. Larson is a free agent, but I think they're not going to re-sign him, and I think they're thinking about cutting Chase Roullier as well. So you got to revamp the line. I don't think they're looking to do anything with left tackle at this point.
Yeah. I when you say it like that makes sense. But I'm sorry, I can't stand. I explained to everybody earlier. I'm gonna re-explain for everybody. When you watch film, so I understand you watch all 22 all the time. But if when you watch a player in person, it hurts so much more. And I go to these home games and I watch this man get whooped week after week, consistently getting whooped. It pisses you off after a while. I get tired of watching him just get beat off the snap like he's a rag doll. And I know he wasn't as bad as everybody as I say he was, but there was time when he literally he looked like the Walking Dead out.
This is the thing. So this is the thing with tackles and really the offensive line in general is you could play. In any given game, you're roughly going to play, if things go the way that they're supposed to, anywhere from 55 to 70 snaps in a game offensively, right?
Yeah.
The thing about offensive linemen are you could have 54 great snaps in a game where you had 55 offensive snaps. But if that one snap is a bad snap, and his is always amplified because it seems like it's always by the end zone. The sack he gave up for a forced fumble against Detroit that ended up in a safety. The sack he gave up against the Giants that ended up in a scoop and score. Like every time he makes a mistake, it's amplified because we're down inside our own 5-yard line. But that's the thing about offensive linemen is they don't get a ton of credit for the games where they're clean, where you don't hear their name mentioned. He's doing his job. It's when they make that catastrophic mistake. That's when you're like, hey, man, this dude sucks. So he's had enough of those moments where it overshadows the fact that he's been actually solid. You know what I mean?
He was solid last year for sure, though.
My thing is,
I didn't want to find him this year.
He wasn't up. He even said it himself at the end of the season. I didn't play up to my standard. He didn't play as well as he could play. But this is my point. I would love to replace him, but I always tell the youth of America, they don't quit your job until you got another one. You can't get rid of Charles Leno unless you already have a guy on the roster that can take his spot and play. And if you're drafting a young boy, you're not even sure if that young boy is going to be able to come in and play the tackle position at a high enough level. So I get it. I'm not opposed to replacing him. If you've got the ability to do so, knock yourself out. I'm not telling you that he needs to remain there, but I just don't see them creating a problem there when they feel like, hey, he's solid enough. No, he's not elite, but he's solid enough. We can get by with him. I think that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, I'll say this, and then I gotta go. This is from Hogs Haven. They said Charles Leno was tied for 7th in the NFL in blown blocks for 36. I don't know where he got this from. Probably got it from one of the usual sites. He said he was the 5th worst offensive tackle. Norwell was tied for 26th worst, and Lucas and Cosme were tied for 27th worst in blown blocks. So yeah,
I wonder how you measure that stat. Like, what is considered a blown block? Are we talking about screens? Are we just talking about pass sets? Like, because none of our dudes could block in the screen game. None of them. The screen game was horrible, and it's because a lot of these dudes didn't get out there. They missed blocks. They overran guys, or just didn't get out there in time. We have that's probably the most frustrating thing to me about our offensive line is that it's so unathletic. It's slow. Like, our dudes run in slow motion. I watch these other teams, and their guys are getting out there. They 25, 30 yards down the field. They mollywop in the corner out there in space. A linebacker thinks he's getting out there, and they getting a piece of him. Our dudes, they don't even get off the line of scrimmage, before a linebacker blow up our screen. So I wonder what that stat entails.
Also, to add another layer to it, like, how long does the quarterback hold on to the ball? Like, if you're blocking for 5 seconds, whereas other teams' offensive linemen are blocking for 3, and then you blocked well for 3, but then that 5th second you blew your block. Like, does that count? So
yeah,
I think that's another thing too.
Yeah,
there's a lot of context. I mean, the Thibodeau one is a clear blown block. The Thibodeau one, the Hutchinson one, those are obvious blown blocks.
The one against the Lions, I remember Chris Cooley saying that Wentz's drop was way too deep on that play. He shouldn't have been, like, when edge rushers try to turn the corner, it's usually at 7, 7.5, 8 yards. If you're getting pushed 10 yards behind, the quarterback shouldn't be at 10 yards ever. Remember Robert Griffin III? That was one of the problems with him, was his drops was inconsistent, and tackles didn't know how to set, where to set, and he was getting pummeled, and everybody was blaming Tyler Columbus and the rest of the offensive line, and they was like, "Bro, it ain't us, it's him." Like, it's like that sometimes. I don't know if Wentz was, to Rico's point, it's so many different factors. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's hard to really consider, those statistics. That's why I'm not the biggest analytics guy, because I got to know exactly what you're taking into consideration with these numbers. You can tell me he was the 5th worst in blown blocks and this, that, and the third. What does that even mean? You know what I mean?
Probably the Thibodeau
what details does that entail? Is it the quarterback, like Rico said, the quarterback holding the ball too long, or he just getting whooped off the snap? Like, what is it?
The Thibodeau one was like Ed said, that was, he just got his
or like the Trey Turner in the Eagles game. Trey Turner probably had about 3 or 4 blown blocks in the first Eagles game. Same thing with Norwell, but
he was terrible. They were just getting spanked.
But Leno's Morgan Moses. That's what he is. So that's my take on him. He's really similar to, like you said, Louis, where it's like he's average. He's not trash. I don't think Leno's trash. Right. But he's not like, he doesn't wow you. He's not above average.
And he doesn't miss games.
And he don't miss games. And that's another thing that's valuable.
I get that. All right. Y'all convinced me to. I'm now on the Leno train.
I wasn't looking to convince you. I was just telling you, like, I'm giving you the perspective of the team, because I think we could upgrade. Like, left tackle isn't a position you want. If your quarterback's right-handed, like, left tackle is in a position that you want to skim on. You know what I mean? You're not trying to cut a corner there. Because as we saw last year, all it takes is one play. That Giants game literally turned on that Kayvon Thibodeau sack. Facts. Like, we never recovered from that.
Facts, never did.
Or when Fitzpatrick had his hip broken, that's a blown block.
Exactly. Yeah. That classifies as a blown block.
He got spanked on that one. He got spanked.
Blown block, and then quarterback's hip gets blown out of the socket.
All right, fellas, I appreciate you for having me on for a sec, man. I might hop back in. All right, y'all.
All right, man. Take it easy, for sure. So, all right. So that was a very detailed left tackle discussion. That's all. Let's talk quarterback real quick, because I know everybody wants to hail Sam Howell's quarterback 1, and some people in the media, other teams' media, ESPN, and all these other fools that Louis does not watch. We gotta kick that out too, because Louis does not watch them. People talking Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo and and this guy and that guy and A-Rod to DC. Oh, we should go grab Aaron Rodgers. Go kick out the draft capital for darn near 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. What are y'all thoughts on the QB1 spot? Should it just be Howell and leave it alone? or should they start looking at a veteran and do the retread route for the third straight season? I'm gonna start with Pedro because I want Pedro's opinion. I haven't heard Pedro talk in a while. If Enrico, we will get the Lou, and I'll give my opinions on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're just not in a great situation in terms of like there's not much you can really do. I mean, yeah, you can go back, get another veteran like Jimmy G, Derek Carr, but what is that really going to do for you? I mean, I'm definitely not trading for Derek Carr, definitely not for no $40 million. Like, no way. And then, I mean, I wouldn't mind drafting a QB and trading up, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, I rather the next regime, if there is a next regime, I rather our new GM pick the quarterback he wants versus if it's someone like Anthony Richardson, who there's definitely going to be mixed opinions on in the NFL. There's going to be some teams that love him and some teams that just like, I don't want this guy near me. And if that's the case, and you get a GM and, you know, the GM right now, Marty Herney, Martin Mayhew, they like him, but the next GM doesn't, you kind of just wasted a draft pick right there. So I would just, you know, see what you have in Sam Howell, bring back Heineke and let them compete. And, you know, if Sam Howell, and I know people don't want to hear that they should compete, but if Sam Howell can't beat out Heineke in camp, he's not that guy. Like Heineke in training camp the last year or two, like we heard he's not a great practice player. So Howell should beat him in training camp. And then I think, you know, people need to temper their expectations. Like I saw Jordan Reed, the ESPN analyst on Kimes podcast, say he could be a top 18 quarterback, and people went crazy. If he's a top 18 quarterback, that's better than what we've had since Kirk Cousins, and he is making under $1 million a year. So you can win with that. You probably can't win a Super Bowl, but you can win a playoff game with a top 18, top 20 quarterback making $1.5 million a year. And we haven't won a Super Bowl since I was like 2 years old. So, or not a Super Bowl, a playoff win. And I would take a playoff win for sure.
And I was 11. So it's put that in perspective. That I'm tired of it. Rico, what are your thoughts on the quarterback position, bro?
Well, just to start, I mean, free agency wise, I'm good. I mean, I understand bringing in like a veteran, like a solid veteran, especially like the new offensive coordinator, if he brings a guy that he likes to, you know, give at least Sam Howell a little bit of QB competition during the offseason and to be his backup potentially throughout the season. I think it would be smart to build around Sam Howell because, I mean, when in doubt, if he doesn't work out for some reason, even though I do think he has the talent to be a really good quarterback, he may not have the talent to be one of those top 5 guys. But with as good as our defense is, with as good as our receiving core is, and this run game should be, especially if we build the offensive line, he should be good enough for us to make some noise, especially in a weak NFC. But if for some reason he doesn't work, I don't think Sam Howell is going to be bad enough for us to have like a top 10 pick like some people think. But I mean, maybe if you really want one of those top quarterbacks in the 2024 draft, they'll do what it takes to get one of those guys. And then supposedly you already have the rest of the team in place for those guys. But this draft wise, I mean, for me, if Anthony Richardson falls, I would take the risk on him. If this was 10 years ago, I would be like, no, for sure, no. But we've seen in recent years that offensive coordinators, teams are getting better at developing these guys and designing an offense around these guys. I mean, Justin Fields is the raw toolsy guy. He's worked out fairly well, even in a really bad Chicago Bears team. Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. I mean, you just have got Justin Herberts. You have guys left and right, even kind of Jalen Hurts a little bit where, you know, 10 years ago, these guys just weren't working out. It's not guaranteed. It's not like you draft Anthony Richardson, he's going to be Cam Newton and Josh Allen. But lately, the past few years, teams have figured out a way to, at the very least, be able to win games with these guys and try to mask their weaknesses, give them less reads to make, use their legs to get first downs and to make the offense run smoothly and on schedule and things like that. So I would take Anthony Richardson if he were to slide, especially if we were to trade back and if he's still there, I would take a risk on him, let him compete with Sam Howell and see how that goes. But I think ultimately it would be probably smartest overall to just go ahead and build around Sam Howell and see what he can do, man. He should have started, I feel like, sooner last season, and I want to see what he can do this upcoming season.
Lou? Last but not least.
I agree with Pedro wholeheartedly on this one. Like, I don't want this regime picking anything at the quarterback. I've been really adamant about that because, to Pedro's point, and this is the same point I've been making for, you know, since we got to that Cleveland game. If it doesn't work out here, we know what new ownership is going to mean. Ron's been through this before. This is not his first rodeo with, exactly, with new ownership. So he understands how this works. He knows that this upcoming season is literally him, coaching for his job. And if it doesn't work out, he's going to be fired. And so if I am, as a fan, this is from a fan perspective, I don't, Ron Rivera and Marty Herney and Martin Mayhew could care less about what we think. They're coaching as if they're going to be here for the long haul, but they got to know in the back of their minds that, this upcoming season is about putting yourself in a position to win and win big, because if we don't, we're probably not going to be here to facilitate any of the things that we would like to, nor reap the benefits of a guy that we drafted that we were looking to develop 2-3 years down the road. So, I personally think that the best route to take is to go with Sam Howell. And look, in saying what I just said, what makes more sense, going with Sam Howell or going out and getting Aaron Rodgers? If you need to win now versus I got 2-3 years to figure it out, Aaron Rodgers makes more sense. Derek Carr makes more sense for them. But I think Carr is going to ultimately get released. I don't see anybody trading for him and picking up that number. Rodgers is interesting because I think the Packers are ready to move on. They're ready to start the Jordan Love journey, whatever that may be for them. And so I think they're ready to move on. I'd be interested to see what they'll fetch for him. Rodgers already said he'd be willing to restructure his deal for a team, whether it be the Packers or someone else, to make it more feasible for a team to take on his contract. So that would be interesting. But my biggest gripe with all of that is, if you're going to get Rodgers, if you're going to get Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, or any of these immobile quarterbacks, you better have an ironclad line in front of them like the Buccaneers built for Brady in 2020. Like, you better have a line that is going to allow Aaron Rodgers, allow Derek Carr, allow Jimmy Garoppolo to literally stand back there, something that we did not allow Carson Wentz to do, and deliver the football, because all of those dudes are immobile. A couple of those dudes are, probably past their prime athletically. Garoppolo never really had any athleticism to begin with. And so you're putting yourself in a very similar position to what you were in last year if you were to go get one of those guys behind an offensive line that isn't, essentially built to protect at that level. So to me, it's Sam Howell or bust this year. You roll with Sam Howell, you see what that, does for you. His mobility will help you if the offensive line isn't great. We've already had all of these discussions about, what a mobile quarterback can do for an offensive line that isn't the best. So I think the biggest thing Ron should be focusing in on, forget about quarterback for now. We're going to roll with Sam. You need to figure out who this next offensive coordinator. This is probably the biggest decision now you have to make, because you get this wrong, you're fired.
We're going to talk about
this wrong, you're fired.
We're definitely going to talk about that as another topic as well.
Yeah.
I got a funny clip from y'all from last training camp. Speaking of practice, that Pedro brought up. I can't bring it up on my computer, but who guys can hear the audio. But this was me, Jalen, and Rio at the training camp practice last year. With Heineke throwing lollipops.
Boy, stop. Take it. I'm walking the show. Okay. Michelle, Percy talking. I hear Percy talking. What we doing?
What we doing?
No, sir. That joke was in the air for an hour.
That joke was in the air for an hour.
You remember how Fox used to do a little hang time joint on the front?
We are the daggone fool, by the way. But yeah. So I if you can't beat Mr. Lollipop in practice, you don't need to be the starter. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
And honestly, if there was a competition, it would be like the competition that was had in 2021 with Ryan Fitzpatrick, where there was a competition, but we all knew that Ryan Fitzpatrick, that was his job. You know, when they went out and signed him, they didn't sign him to be the backup here. They signed him to be the starter. So I think that's how it would be. They know what Heineke is at this point. You know, they don't really need to see that anymore. They know what he is.
Fucking quarterback. But yeah, it gotta be Howell, man. I know it's sort of intriguing to. Oh, we can go trade for Aaron Rodgers. We can pick up Derek Carr. I wouldn't mind Derek Carr if this was last year. This year, hell no. I don't want Derek Carr here. It just don't make sense to. I'm gonna go pay Derek Carr $25 million with no line. We did this before. Louis said this. I'm gonna quote Louis on this one. After the Browns game, first we failed Carson because we didn't have a line. And then Carson failed us by throwing 100 picks. So let's not put ourselves in that situation again, failing another quarterback because we don't have a line. And if you paying Derek Carr $25 million, makes zero sense. You don't have a line. You're not going to get a line. You want to re-sign Deron Payne. You want to pay Cam Curl. You want to do us all the crap and go get Derek Carr. But what line?
Hey,
it's going to be a Metro Gate all over again. Just everybody just.
This is crazy that this showed up on my phone. They said that Ron Rivera and Aaron Rodgers are playing at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So they'll be there together. I mean, look.
Instead of at the Senior Bowl.
Exactly. Instead of at the Senior Bowl. You know, Ron skipped out last year and was with family last year. He's like, y'all got that shit. I ain't fooling with it. So Ron is like, hey, I'm gonna send you, the two Martys, send y'all out there, send y'all scouts. Y'all got it. I'm gonna go out here and try to woo Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, Ron Rivera is playing at this thing, and so is Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't be shocked if Ron is gauging his interest in Washington. You know how Ron does. Yeah, everything he does has intent to it. He's there for a reason.
Heck yeah, facts.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, facts. I can't disagree with that, Lou. Going to watching film, Leno sucks, and How is our guy. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Tim is hilarious. And P.S. I told you last offseason draft to tackle in round one last draft, O-line ended up being horrid. It wasn't all because of Leno, but yeah, I definitely.
I mean, in saying that, that's cool, but Jahan Dotson
is him.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
him.
we can argue about tackle and drafting, and I don't even know who was available at maybe at 11.
There was really no one that good. If you're gonna go back, I would say 2020. You had Christian Darrisaw on the board. That's when you could have potentially gotten a tackle. But this past year, I think it was fine not going tackle. But Christian Darrisaw, I think they could have picked him in 2021
instead of Jamin Davis. Yeah.
Trevor Penning was a guy that was available apparently,
and he had a terrible rookie season, getting in fights with teammates and getting injured, and so and I loved him, coming into the draft, but he turned out to not be and that doesn't mean he won't end up being a really good player, but he wasn't good in his rookie season.
They said could have had George Pickens around too. George Pickens is a dog. I would love to have George Pickens, but I love Jahan Dotson. I'm a Penn State guy, so I do love Jahan Dotson very dearly, and I'm glad he's on my team. So I'm not going to complain. But yeah, actually, you segue to offensive coordinator. I know we have talked. I know we all made videos about every content creator in our community made video about Eric Bieniemy and the possibilities of Eric Bieniemy being our OC here. I want to start with Rico. What percentage chance you gonna give this? If it's not Eric Bieniemy, give me a couple of candidates you actually like that we have interviewed so far. Start with Rico, and then Lou, and then Pedro.
I think Eric Bieniemy is quite possible because with the other teams that he's interviewing with, I feel like we're his best route to becoming a head coach potentially. Just because you go to the Ravens, if Lamar Jackson balls out, how much credit are you even going to get? Because a lot of people are down on Greg Roman, and Greg Roman had Lamar Jackson as an MVP. So apparently Lamar Jackson gets all of the credit. So if Eric Bieniemy goes there and Lamar Jackson continues the ball out and he stays healthy, I'm thinking that, that wouldn't necessarily be great for him to potentially get his next head coaching job. Whereas here, you become an offensive coordinator here. And if things work out, Ron Rivera's gone, maybe you're first in line for an interview potentially. Who knows? I mean, not first of all, on our end, not a lot of people want to deal with the chaos that we have going on here. I love Thomas Brown, but I mean, why would he want to come here and deal with all of this chaos when he can end up going somewhere else with a more stable situation? But compared to the Jets and some of those other teams, you could say that we potentially have a better quarterback in place than Sam Howell over with Jets having Zach Wilson and things like that. So I feel like we would be a nice landing spot for him. And it looks like with us waiting to hire a guy until, you know, we interview Eric Bieniemy and Anthony Lynn, maybe that does show that there is some serious interest for Eric Bieniemy. Because say if Thomas Brown, who I won, or Pat Shermer would have came in and killed it in the interviews, maybe would have already gotten them. But I feel like they're waiting on Eric Bieniemy and Anthony Lynn interviews to make a real decision. And so I think Eric Bieniemy is quite likely. He's not one of my favorites, but I'd be down to see to give him a chance. I feel like this next year is a sacrifice year anyway. Give Eric Bieniemy a chance. If he doesn't work out, then we're just back in the market again. I mean, he's technically never had play calling duties, so let's see how that works with us. But yeah, I'm really intrigued. Of course, Thomas Brown's my favorite. If you rise that high under Sean McVay's coach and tight ends coach to assistant head coach within a year, I feel like there has to be something there. Now, of course, he doesn't have any concrete evidence of proof that he's a great offensive coordinator at all. We don't really have much of a track record outside of the fact that he's done a good job of developing tight ends, which is one of our biggest problems right now. I mean, all of our guys look like they regressed. And I mean, I love Amani Rodgers, but we didn't really get to see much of him late in the season. And I'm willing, again, sacrifice season, give Thomas Brown a chance and see what he does with it.
Someone commented, Rico saw that big smile. He said he's a Penn State fan. All right, leave me alone, man. Leave my favorite college football team alone. All right? Y'all disrespectful. Leave my Nittany Lions alone. All right, leave my Nittany Lions alone.
Can't say nothing to Rico right now, man.
I can't say nothing to Rico. I'm talking to him in the comment section. Rico good. Rico good over here.
That's 2 in a row for him, man. Can't say much.
I'm being humble, man. I know what it felt like 10 years ago, so I'm chilling. I'm happy, but I'm not going too crazy because we can go back to 10 years ago real quick.
Rico's team won me some money, so shout out to Rico. I have no beef with that. Oh, shout out to y'all. Destroying the Horn Frogs. I appreciate y'all. But yeah. Go ahead, Pedro.
I would love to know who bet you on that game. That's another story.
Good point.
A very intoxicated homie.
It had to be.
Oh, you caught him lacking.
Big
call
time.
Him lacking.
Big time.
Call him lacking. $200 too. I appreciate it. He don't pay my rent. Appreciate you, bro. Well, go ahead, Lou. What are your thoughts on the offensive coordinator position?
I would put it at 23%. It's very low, but it's not too low to the point where it's impossible, because I think what he's starting to realize is that he's not getting any credit for being on that staff, right? He's not getting credit for calling the plays. Everyone just attributes the success that the Chiefs are having to Andy Reid, and rightfully so. And so I think he is starting to really understand, in order for me to get to the next level, for me to break through this glass ceiling that seems to be here, I need to spread out my wings and fly away and do my own thing and show everybody that I can call plays, and that Andy Reid, creativity and brainstorming and things of that nature did rub off on me. I did learn through osmosis and being with Andy for all these years. And so I do think he may be interested. He may be tempted, especially if they win the Super Bowl. That'd be his second one there. At that point, now you're like, all right, I can go now, right? So we'll see what he decides to do. I'm always going to contend that Washington just isn't an appealing destination for anyone that has options. Now, for a guy who, is looking for an opportunity to potentially get to an offensive coordinator position like Thomas Brown, he may not have a ton of options right now. If he is willing to stick it out in LA for another 2 or 3 years, so be it. But this is the thing. Each year that passes, Sean McVay gets closer and closer to retirement, right? Yep. He was mulling over it last year. He was mulling over it this year. At some point, he's going to be enticed to go be in a comfy booth, no longer coaching football. And at that point, is Thomas Brown still in LA? Probably not. He's probably fine with the rest of that staff. So a guy in his position may not have as much to lose as an Eric Bieniemy. So I could see Eric Bieniemy saying, "Yeah, I want to leave, but I don't want to go to Washington," because that could be one and done. Whereas Thomas Brown, it could be saying, "Hey, Sean might not be back next year. I don't know what the future holds for him and what it holds for me. But going to Washington might be an excellent opportunity for me to show people that I can call plays at this level," because he was an offensive coordinator in college at the University of Miami. But, we haven't seen it here, so we don't really know what he can do at this level as a play caller. I think it's going to be one of three guys. I think it's going to be Pat Shurmur, Anthony Lynn, or it's going to be Eric Bieniemy. I don't think Thomas Brown gets the job because I feel like if he would have wowed them, like seriously, they would have already offered him the job, I think.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. Go ahead, Pedro.
Yeah, and I got to go after this, but I'm going to say I think Eric Bieniemy, I kind of agree with what Lou said that, like, if he does want to, become a head coach, like, he's going to have to become an offensive coordinator somewhere else and call plays because he's been there for I don't know how many years, but a lot of years where they're the number one, number two, top three offense. And he's, candidate every year and nothing happens. So he's going to have to leave if he wants to get a head coaching job. And it seems like he does want to get a head coaching job. So I think he got requested by the Jets, Ravens, Titans, and Commanders. And the Jets already hired Hackett. Mm-hmm. So it'll be between the Ravens and the Titans. And I think the Ravens are like keying in on Zach Robinson. So it really could be between us and the Titans. And, you could argue we're more enticing besides maybe the quarterback position than the Titans on offense because they got Derrick Henry. But besides that, like the receivers aren't great. But I don't know. I think it's still risky a little bit for him to leave just such a stable position in Kansas City for a position in Washington where, hey, he could be on the street after a year if they do clean house. So, yeah, it's probably like 20 to 30%, like Lou said. And then after that, I would say, Thomas Brown, he's probably my most like intriguing candidate. Like Rico said, I like him. He's got some potential young guy. But the only thing that concerns me is that Sean McVay had an open OC spot and he didn't even interview him. And like for a guy to be right under you as the assistant head coach and whatever tight ends coach and running backs coach the year before and not even get an interview, maybe there was like a mutually, like maybe they had an agreement, like they just wanted to move on, but to not get an interview is a little concerning for me. But besides that, I like him. And then honestly, the other candidates just really don't impress me that much. But yeah, that's it. Appreciate having me on, ProTech.
Yeah, for sure, man. Pedro. You subscribe to Pedro Smith's channel, man. Get that man at 11K, man. For sure. Be easy, bro.
Peace.
Yes, sir. And just to add to the Eric Bieniemy thing, why I feel like he's quite likely to leave Super Bowl and not just because remember the current contract he's on is like a 1-year deal. And I feel like Andy Reid somewhat did it. Yeah, I think he did him a favor. Like I think Andy Reid wanted him gone kind of last year. And then when Eric Bieniemy couldn't get no jobs, Andy Reid was like, all right, I'm a nice guy. Bro. I'm gonna give you one more year to get on your feet, maybe prove yourself a little bit. I don't know. But then again, he didn't give him play calling duties, so maybe he didn't do him that much of a favor. But I feel like Eric Bieniemy's quite likely to leave. I'm not sure how likely he is to come here, but I think he's going to end up going somewhere potentially.
That's a good point, Rico. And I wanted to piggyback off of what Pedro said before he left about McVay not interviewing him. First of all, Sean McVay calls plays. So if I'm Thomas Brown, I don't even want that job. Personally, because you're in the same position as Eric Bieniemy. You're a token offensive coordinator, but you really don't have offensive coordinator responsibilities because we all know Sean McVay is calling every single snap offensively of the game. So he hired his boy. Like literally, Mike LaFleur got fired from the Jets, and he brought him in, and he's the OC. Mike is not calling plays in LA. Sean McVay is never giving that up. The minute he gives that up, he's going to quit. Like, that's enjoyable for him. So if I'm Thomas Brown, I don't even want that job. I'll stay right where I'm at as the assistant head coach and coaching the tight ends up because I don't want to be the token offensive coordinator. What good does that do?
Nothing. Nothing. It don't help you progress in your career at all because you're not calling plays.
Right.
As for me with the whole Airbnb thing, I think I'm gonna go a little higher than you guys went on.
Mm.
I think it's close to 50-50 than anything, honestly speaking. Only because his contract about to run out, number one.
Mm.
It don't seem like they want to re-up with him in Kansas City.
Mm.
They just say they want him to go somewhere else. And look at the options. Like the Jets already hired an offensive coordinator. Who the hell wants to go to Tennessee? Who the hell?
It's easy to say that, right, on the surface, but they win in Tennessee.
Yeah,
they win. I mean, if we're talking strictly off of talent, it's not even debatable. You know,
I'm at talent, but yeah, if you talk winning and stuff like that, I get what you're saying because Tennessee consistently wins. Like they're a consistent team. They're solid every year. They're always above 500.
Worst division too.
Exactly.
But I think that's Jacksonville's division now, though. I really believe that.
I mean, it could be, but don't count Tennessee out. They're not going to just.
I won't fully count them out unless they get rid of Ryan Tannehill. I'm gonna count them out.
they got to get a quarterback, and I think one of these veteran dudes is going to land in Tennessee personally. But we'll see.
Got a good point there, Lou. I can't disagree.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. It's really intriguing because I think he's gonna have a couple of options. But you know, one of the things that has stopped him from getting head coaching jobs reportedly is that he doesn't interview well. So if we go to interview him and they're like, "Bro, that's it. That's the best you got," he might not get the job. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see if he's learned from all of these interviews. You know, because I think the dude's had like 18 intervies.
Yeah,
and he hasn't gotten a job yet. It's a ridiculous amount of interviews. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask y'all. Did y'all see that Chris Harris is now going to be interviewed for the 49ers defensive coordinator job?
Yes, sir. I saw that.
I did see that. Yeah.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, he may get it too. We know, to me, he has the exact same demeanor as DeMeco Ryans, right? Very animated on the sidelines. You know, a player coach, a guy that used to play in the league. I think it would be a seamless transition for him. Now, obviously, we've never seen him call plays before, right? But I think he is on that fast track, man. He was the one guy on the staff that had that charisma, that had any kind of buzz. Nobody else on our staff is looking to be poached away from another, by another team. He was the one guy.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
I just find that
I love me some Chris Harris, and if he gets hired by the 49ers, that'll be a great fit.
I think so too. And I'll be watching him close to see what happens with him.
Me too.
Because you know what's going to happen if he turns out to be good and ends up a head coach, and he's like Dan Campbell. You know what they're going to be. They're going to add him to the list of dudes that got away out of Washington that we didn't, find a way to keep in the building. Yep.
Another one. DJ Khaled voice.
Yeah. Another one. Yeah, absolutely.
God dang it. Oh, my gosh. And here comes Jared for his crap. Look, man, Chris Harris is a darn good coach. Put some respect on that man's name. All right. I'm getting tired of Chris Harris slander. Stop that. You stop that.
He did some good things here, man.
He did some good things here. He's a pretty good secondary coach. And I think he'd be a great fit in San Francisco with that defensive unit. And he'll probably parlay that to a head coaching job. Like Lou said, he'll probably parlay that to a head coaching job in a year or two. And we're going to say another one.
Because the last two defensive coordinators in San Francisco, what ended up happening with those dudes?
Head coach.
There you go.
3 for 3, man.
We'll see. We'll see
what happens. That's gonna be fun. But about the Airbnb thing. So I think it's close to 50-50 even if people give it credit for. I do like Thomas Brown. I do like Thomas Brown as well. But Lou had a good point that he might go ahead and the moment he didn't. Sean McVay. I think Pedro said that the whole Sean McVay thing. But you made a point saying, "Hey, look, I wouldn't want that job anyway. I'm not gonna call plays. I'm not gonna progress anywhere. So I wouldn't want that job anyway." And another thing about Thomas Brown is he's so young and so intriguing, but that's a wild card. Like, what do he bring? You don't know what he's bringing to the table. Unlike a guy like Pat Shurmur, which every time he gets a hand on a young quarterback, for however long he has his hand on a young quarterback, they look solid.
Mhm.
Donovan McNabb, like Louis said in his video, or it's Daniel Jones recently,
Mhm.
or Sam Bradford. He gets his hand on a young quarterback, whatever time he has with him, because most times it's not long. But when he does, he got that quarterback looking solid. Like he's old as hell, and I'm
everybody's going to point to Drew Lock. That's the one that he didn't have success with. Was Drew Lock in Denver, and that's his last job, coincidentally enough. So that's where everybody's going to point. I say, look, Drew Lock has proven he's not good.
Drew Lock just sucks. Exactly.
He sucks.
Like sucks.
But you look at, Case Keenum, best year of his career. Nicholas Foles, best year of his career. Daniel Jones, statistically, up until this past year, that was his rookie season was his best year of his career, and he still hasn't even come remotely close to the amount of touchdown passes he had in that rookie season under Pat Shurmur. Donovan McNabb, best season of his career, goes to the Super Bowl in 2004. Like, it's not a coincidence, man. We keep talking about it over and over again. Sam Bradford in his rookie season, how good he was. This dude has something to him when it comes to quarterbacks. If they've got talent, he's going to get something out of them.
I believe outside Bieniemy, that's my number one candidate, Pat Shurmur. I think he'll get the best out of Howell, and he will definitely maximize this kid's talents. Bieniemy for me is number one because he learned under Andy Reid. Damn it, like it's Andy freaking Reid for crying out loud. If you have not learned anything from Andy Reid, you don't need to be coaching nowhere else. Okay. You should be absorbing everything you can out this man's brain and picking this man's brain daily, 3 times daily, 5 times daily. I don't care. Absorb as much knowledge from this man as you can. So when you do leave this man's nest, you can actually flourish. And I think he learned so much from him. He should flourish wherever he goes, as long as it's.
I'm so intrigued by Thomas Brown, man. Like,
there's
so much mystery there that I'm like, I would like to see what's behind door number Brown. Like I would like to see what's behind that door and see if that guy actually has the ability to do it at a high level. But we'll see what happens. I contend that, and I've said this from the jump, it's going to be a retread. I don't know if you can get anybody other than a retread here. Now, again, they got to also factor in that Ron, and you just said this, he's fighting for his job. It's all about who do I trust in a 1 year, like this is essentially a 1 year playoff, right? Who do I trust in it's the same concept with quarterback. I need 1 year. Do I trust Sam Howell or do I trust Aaron Rodgers? Which is why I think he's at that damn Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Do I trust Pat Shurmur or do I trust Thomas Brown? Like, I think these are things you have to take into consideration. So I think Bieniemy fits into that. Veteran play caller, been in the league, even though he hasn't called his play. I think they respect what he's been under Andy Reid, and so I think he's in that mix. And Anthony Lynn, being a former head coach, has called plays before in the past, but really his forte is more so working with running backs. But he's been a head coach, he's been an offensive coordinator in this league, so I think it's going to be one of those type dudes. But we'll see.
Yeah, my money's on Shurmur or Bieniemy for me. I think my money's on one of them too. I'll be kind of surprised as Anthony Lynn because he doesn't have the pedigree he has with young quarterbacks that Shurmur does. But he's great with running backs, like you stated. He's great with running backs, and Ron is still in the 80s. I want to run the football. I don't want the quarterback to be in the way. Run the football 2-1, like a freaking fool, daggone dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not 1983 no more, bro. That's 50 years ago. It's 20 years ago. 2023, bro. Wake up, bro. You're not in high school no more, walking down hallways. You're 60 years old, and 2023 coaching the football team. Stop thinking you're in the 80s, bro. I need you to let it go.
Yeah.
Let your prime go. It's okay, Ron. It's okay, bro.
I think Ron understands that you got to have, better play from the quarterback position, but if you don't, you have to be able to run the ball. So I'm hoping that's where those comments came from, out of, hey, when you don't have Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, you got to be able to run the ball, so.
Yeah, to your point, I think they're basically just laying the groundwork for an excuse. Like, if Sam Howell doesn't work out, instead of, actually doing what you're supposed to do and find a better quarterback, they're just going to be like, well, we said we wanted to run the ball a lot anyway.
Right.
But you don't pay Terry McLaurin all of that money, draft Jahan in the first, get Curtis Samuel 2 years ago and give him all of that money.
And
just
draft
to wanna
Gianni
run the
with a
ball.
3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to run the ball.
Yeah.
They're just preparing us with an excuse. They got it already laid in, planted the seed ahead of time.
That's right. I believe this. I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, you don't go and do the things, your actions, and that's part of the thing that I said, his actions don't necessarily match with what he's saying. I think the lack of identity has really killed us in his 3 years. They don't really know what the hell they want to do.
Because it killed us this year because week 1 and week 2, this man threw 7 touchdowns in 2 games, and we were throwing around the daggone gym. We were throwing all around the yard. Just, you get a pass, you get a pass, you get a pass. Everybody get a pass. Oh, okay. Tell Heineke in the game now. We want to run the ball, play action fake, kind of keep it close to the vest. Try to win 17-15, as you would like to say. We try to win 21-18, all that low-scoring mumbo-jumbo bull jive. Hey, 11's back. Hey, we're going to throw the ball across the yard again. Oh, he threw 3 picks. Yeah. How's in the game now? All right, man. We're gonna protect the young quarterback in a meaningless game and have him go 19 times. Yeah. What in the hell are you, bro? This game is so meaningless. I don't care if it's Dallas. Make him throw 40 times. I want to see what this kid can do. No, I'm gonna throw 19 times.
Yeah.
Even just offensive coordinator wise, what quality offensive coordinator do you think you're gonna get when they walk into the interview and you say, by the way, you're gonna have to run the ball 2-1 to pass? Like, we're already telling you,
hands.
We're already telling you how to do your job.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
If
I'm anyone that interviews for unless you're Charles London, that's probably the one guy saying, "Oh, we're gonna run the ball a lot." That sounds like fun, dude. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Like, he's probably
so really with players, they just want an identity. They just want to know where they stand. Like, okay, what are we? So it's almost like an NBA player, right? If you're a role player, you just want to know, all right, how many minutes am I getting a night, coach? Yeah. Like, I don't want to show up at the gym tonight. I get 17 minutes and I'm feeling good about that. Maybe I might get an increase to 21, tomorrow night, and then I play 3 minutes. And then the next night I play no minutes. And then the night after that I play 11. Like, I don't know what's going to happen when I show up at the gym. And that's frustrating as a player. You just want to know where you stand. And that's why I think it's important to establish an identity. So players know exactly what they can expect. We don't have one, And to me, the best teams in the league, when they draft, they know what they're looking for. You know why? Because they have an identity. They know what kind of a player they're looking for because it fits what they do schematically, fundamentally. And that's why the teams like the Ravens seem to find players, the Steelers find guys, the Bengals find guys, because they know what they're looking for. We don't really know what the hell we're looking for. We don't know what we're going to do.
Especially we don't have an
it's frustrating.
Right? William Jackson as a prime example. Mm-hmm. And I'm afraid of how that's going to affect free agency. Teams, other players are going to look like are they going to do me how they did William Jackson? And now I'm the bad guy.
We did the same thing with Josh Norman. You take a primary zone corner and we asked him to play man. We bring in a man corner and ask him to play zone. Like, we just, again, this is because we don't have a identity defensively or offensively.
Yeah. Well, the only semi-identity we have defensively. Hey, we're gonna 5 defensive linemen and have no linebackers because we don't have any. That's the only semi thing you can rely on week after week. We don't have linebackers, so you need to play more defensive linemen. That's it. Everything else is, do we play more man? Do we play zone? And then like another thing that you brought up with the whole man and zone thing is, I think Benjamin St. Juste is a much better man corner than zone corner, but yet we're playing zone because our other corner can't play man to save his life. Can afford. So it's like it's conflicting on the roster. It's conflicting in the coaching staff. Pick players, or pick a scheme that you want to run. And pick players that fit the damn scheme. This is not rocket science. This is not super pre-calculus. This is not hard. Why y'all making it harder than it needs to be? Like,
right.
Us three could come up with a team and identity in probably less than a freaking month and know what the hell we want. They don't know what they want in 3 years. This makes zero sense. I'm just confused. I'm just.
We got an identity on special teams. We got a returner at the very least doesn't muff punts, and then we got a punter that can kick it within their 20-yard line. And Jeremy Reeves gonna go down there all pro Revo and make
all pro Revo.
We got a special teams identity. We play it safe on the punt returns, and then we do what we got to do on the other side. But other than that, it's up for grabs.
Now you ain't quite special teams, Rico, because we have a kicker that don't like kick the ball consistently either.
Oh, Joey
I'm sorry. I ain't been to ruin the party.
About that.
Yeah, that. Well, the punt team has an identity. I give you that, but kicking,
right? Yeah, still debatable.
But I think that wraps up everything we need to talk about tonight. Is there anything I want to say about the team before we get out of here? I'll start with Lou and Rico, and we'll go and wrap this thing on up.
No, I guess because I haven't really talked about this on my show. I guess at some point I will, but I never really addressed the whole Scott Turner never wanted Carson Wentz thing.
I never had either. I think I'm gonna do a video about that. In hindsight, looking back, it kind of makes sense that he wasn't really on board because I think he was fine with Heineke. I think he wanted an upgrade at quarterback, but I don't think he wanted Carson Wentz. I don't think he really was interested in Carson Wentz. And Ron convinced him that, hey, I'm telling you, this dude, if we protect him, we get him weapons, this guy can be everything that we need him to be. I mean, it's easy for Scott to say that now after he's been fired, but because I thought Scott actually, over the last 3 years, I thought his best work came when he had less talent in 2020. I thought he regressed each of the last 3 years. So, it is what it is. Whether he wanted him or not, he wasn't a good play caller. That's what it boils down to. I cannot disagree with anything you said there. I think my last statement is I just want to see who they hire offensive coordinator. And like Louis said, and like Rico said, we need an identity. We need an offensive identity. What do we want to be? Do we want to be a run first team? Do we want to be a pass first team? Are we wasting our investments at wide receiver with Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Kurt Samuel and De'Ami Brown? Or we're going to actually use these investments to actually get down the field and develop a kid like Sam Howell and see if he's actually the guy? Can we see we got a 5th round steal, a 5th round gem, or he's just another 5th round pick? Like, I want to find out. So I hope they actually find identity this offseason and pick players toward their identity. And I hope their identity is being a balanced offense. I don't want to be, we have to run the ball 2 out of 1 time, or we have to pass the ball 60% of the time. Be balanced. If you want to be a run-first team and then go play action offense, that's fine. But be balanced. We need offensive balance. We need identity and balance. Like, that's what I'm looking for this offseason from this offense, and hopefully we get both of those things. Anything else you want to say, Rico?
I'm just hoping that this whole new ownership thing, they're saying March at the latest, which sounds great, but first of all, I got to see it. But my main priority is hopefully we can get that done before free agency, because, I mean, to go through free agency without knowing who your owner is going to be and that new owner doesn't get a chance to do, I mean, hopefully it sounds like he's likely to be here before the draft, but I would prefer free agency as well, please. Because that changes if we bring back Deron Payne or not, potentially, and things like that. So yeah, I would definitely prefer to go ahead and get that done as soon as possible, of course.
Agreed.
I would love it. I just want them gone, man. That shit could happen in July. I was
talking out of here, but that's pretty much everybody's side of it. We just want Darren gone.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would, if I had a preference, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But at this point, I don't really give a shit. Just go, bro. Just go, man.
Get out of here.
We've been waiting so long. Just go, man. I don't want to hear him backtracking about he want this amount of money. Bro, take your $6 billion and go, man.
7 or whatever, and just go.
He wants 7. I heard he wants 7 or 8, but look, just take whatever's out there.
Take the money and run, bro. Take the money and run.
Can't wait.
Run away. I can't wait either. But I want to shout out Louis T for coming out tonight. Shout out to Rico. Shout out to Ed and Pedro. Y'all know where I can find them at. Louis T at the Louis T Network. Go ahead and subscribe. When this thing actually publishes in the morning, I will put all their channels in a pinned comment down below. Y'all can subscribe to all their channels. I know who the heck Louis T is. I don't have to say that. Y'all know who the heck Rico is. Y'all know who Pedro is. I know who Ed is. Y'all know who these guys are, man. These are the big four. These are the fantastic four. It's like to call them on this Commander space. They're the reason why I started my channel. They're the reason why a lot of people started their channel. So shout out to all four of them. I very appreciate it. And one more thing, please subscribe to my second channel, A Life of Tone, down below. You want to see some vlogs. You want to see, I have a podcast every Tuesday.
Yeah, all that
Change narrative on Tuesdays. I have a lot of things going on that channel. Shout out CC Lou watches. I appreciate it.
I try to support when I can, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate Lou for that. So you all want to watch all that reaction videos to people getting cheated on and all that crap? Go subscribe. It's fun. It's fun. That's Tone over there. This is Protex. So
right.
Subscribe over there. It's pretty fun and there's some dope stuff over there. So, and I have an anime show every Wednesday with Rico on the live channel. So go ahead and catch that. We will be live tomorrow at 8:00 on the second channel. So hope you guys enjoy your evening. Like I said, subscribe to all these wonderful people down below. Subscribe to all my bros channels down below. And go follow my guys WSH on the daily on Instagram as well. Want to shout out Lou especially, man. Special shout out to Lou, man. Follow him. I would not be right here talking to y'all right now. I promise you. I remember when me and Lou had a conversation back in 2019, I want to say. And he was like, yeah, start a channel. I was like, I don't know if I do the whole camera thing. Just go. Just do it. And my mom passed away. I'm going to give y'all a quick story before I get out of here. And he even shot on his channel. And he told me that day, life is too short. Go ahead and do it. Don't waste no more time. Do it. I said, okay. And guess who's my first subscriber on this channel? That guy down there. So special shouts to Lou. I very appreciate the man. I love you, bro. I'm thankful. I'm grateful,
bro. Likewise.
And I'm just grateful to have people like y'all. Y'all like another family of mine. I very appreciate y'all. Like Rico, appreciate you too, bro. Like we do the anime thing every Wednesday, every so often we can, and it's fun collaborating with you, thinking about different topics to talk about. Pedro's been on the channel several times. Ed and I talk every now and then via text messages. Tim, Jairus. I want to shout out to all of y'all, man. Just Skins fan all day. The first person even gave me a collab on YouTube. So I just want to shout out to all of y'all. Big Simple, all of y'all. Just thank all of y'all. Y'all like another family to me. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. And truly grateful to have y'all as another family of mine on this space. And this has been fun. This is a fun journey. I'm looking forward to doing it more. And I'm looking forward to Lou putting us on his channel for once. Lou.
Look, man.
I know you're solo. Dang, Lou.
Hey, eventually I'm gonna get around to it, man. I'm gonna put everybody on, man. I'll be so caught up in doing my own thing. I don't be thinking about collabing with anybody.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Lou.
I mean,
I'm right with you.
Besides the Super Friends.
Well,
right
I mean that's
that's
a whole different beast, right? That's a different.
Y'all be lit over there though. That'd be a little stream.
That's a whole different animal. But I honestly be in my own zone, so I got to be better about that. My wife gets on me about that all the time. So I'm trying to be better.
This funny thing is, Chanel, like you collab too much. I'm like, dang, I collab too much. Dude, don't collab enough. Like, what's the in between? Like, what's up with that? But
there's a happy medium in there somewhere. I gotta find it.
And whenever you come out to DC, sir, I should be the first person you call. I very appreciate that next time you come to the city.
Yeah.
I check your Instagram story, and you had lost society. Didn't tell nobody. Now I was hurt.
I didn't know what we were going. It was my birthday weekend. My wife planned all of that stuff. I had no idea what was going on. I knew we were going to DC. I didn't know where we were going, this, that, and the third. So it was lit though. I had a really good time, man. DC is crazy. It's a nice spot. It's got its little idiosyncrasies. I hate driving there. I'll tell you that right now. But
driving in DC was a pain in the neck for sure.
Yeah,
but
facts.
Whenever you come back in the city, bro, just let me know, man. I'm definitely willing to show y'all a good time. Whether you and your wife come up, you know what I'm saying? Me and Chanel would definitely love to show y'all a good time.
Yeah.
You actually get to meet Chanel, which that'd be great. And
yeah.
I can meet your love of your life. And so I know you probably come out this summer though.
Definitely try to get out there this summer. It'd be nice.
And whenever I come to ATL, I gotta hit up Rico. So that's something we gotta do more often, meet each other in person too. So that's something I'm looking to do this summer. So if I'm in anybody's city or whatever, if I'm in the 757, I'm calling Lou. I'm in Atlanta. I'm calling Rico. It's gonna be a dope off season. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll be a season ticket holder again too. So looking forward to all these home games again. Hopefully we won't be getting embarrassed at home anymore. That'd be great. Wouldn't it be great to have a 6-2 home record this year? That'd be great. 5-3, maybe. You know. Wouldn't that make
Good luck with that, man.
I know.
You know what?
I know,
you know what though? If Dan sells, I think you will have for the first time in a long time an actual real home field advantage potentially. There are a lot of people that swear that they would never come back until Dan sold, and now he's selling. Now we're gonna call their bluff. Now if he sells, see if people actually come back out to support. It may take a new stadium to get people to come back out, but we'll
come back out for real. But I do think when Dan does sell, I think this next season will be the first season we'll have 55% Commanders fans, 60% Commanders fans, things of that nature. Also, I said I have multiple seats. If anyone wants to go to a home game next year, please DM me. I'll go ahead and I'll sell you a ticket. You can come watch the games with me in my section. It's gonna be lit. I can't wait, man. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Have a great evening. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to Rico. Shout out to Pedro and Ed. I'm gonna try to do this more often. So I'm gonna hit up Lou and all y'all guys probably next couple of days and try to set this up something like after the draft, like a post-draft type of discussion between us. And we can go ahead and do that then. So y'all guys have a great evening, and I'll catch y'all next video. And yeah, man.
Man.
Peace, bro. I'll be easy, guys.